All right. Well, welcome everybody. It's great to see some new faces in the room. Welcome to your 2026 annual training for officials. Understand that this counts as part of our 10-hour block of training for our requirement with NFHS and in partnership with the OHSLA. We know that we need this meeting conducted in 3 places across the state. We'll be in Eugene next Saturday morning, 8 to 11, if anybody wants to catch it. And Bend the following morning on Sunday from 8 to 11. And then we have our 3 veterans trainings, which you're going to hear all about today. I'd like to bring up our board of directors team to the front if I could. Please. Okay. So quick facility notes. First of all, thank you, Devin Bentz, for getting us in this incredible classroom. Nice work, buddy. Devin's girlfriend proposed to him. He accepted. He'll soon be the bride-to-be. We're thrilled for him.
I'll make a great housewife.
Yes. All seriousness, Devin and his lady got engaged, and we're thrilled for him. We know a lot of you are going through transitions in life, kids at home and the like, but wonderful to see. Facilities, if you head right out these doors and go a hard left, another hard left, there's bathrooms. They all have individual stalls and the like. And so I want to take a moment to introduce you to your board of directors team. If you would, gentlemen, your name, the region you represent. And Mike, start us off.
Mike Brooks. I think this is going to be year 14 of lacrosse. I think I've been on board 5 years now. I'm based out of Roseburg, so I have basically south of Salem down to the border. We've got some encouraging stuff down in the Medford area. Stay tuned on that. So that's it.
Tom Carney, 6 years. Been on the board for 3 years, and I cover the greater metro area, North Oregon.
Mark Smonson, year 11 for officiating. I'm starting my 3rd year on the board, and I'm in the Portland area.
Derek Scroggin, it's my 10th year, and I cover the Salem, Corvallis, and a little bit of Eugene.
I'm James Strohecker. I'm secretary on the board, and I cover everything.
I'm Don Huber, 26 years, been on the board 26 years. And I cover everything.
Devin Bentz, 11-year lacrosse official, 2nd year on the board. I'm up in Forest Grove, so I'm on the western side of the city.
We have 3 board members who are not joining us today. First of all, Locke Chandler is our treasurer, and Locke will be making up this meeting. Tom Johnson covers the he's our vice president of the High Desert. We're over at his neck in the neighborhoods next Sunday. And Jimmy Sabara also over there and serves as the member at large for the High District. Ladies and gentlemen, your board of directors. Our board team meets periodically throughout the year, about 6 times on average, sometimes a little more, rarely a little less, but we meet virtually. And if you're ever interested in finding out more about board service as you go through your experience here in La Crosse, we'd love to have you volunteer. My name is Tom Hoffert. I am in Salem, so I'm kind of the middle ground. Similar to Strohecker, I go everywhere, wherever Don sends me. And really have enjoyed doing this. We had 2 elections this year. Very happy to tell you that James Strohecker has been elected for his 2nd term as secretary. Nice work, buddy. And I really appreciate your trust. This is my 5th term. Don Huber served 5 terms before me. Fred Zenson, at least 5 terms. Well, one very, 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 very long term. Yeah, that's a great point. One very long term. This will be my last 2-year term, and I just really want to thank you guys for the opportunity to serve you all for this many years. And yeah, we'll talk about that maybe another year, because I got 2 years to go, and I'm very excited about that, so thank you. And then the last introduction I would do is Lacey right here. My dog Lacey is very old. She shouldn't be with us. She really loves Brian Platts and Don Huber and Chessar, so she's going to wander around. She's deaf, and she only really has one eyesight out of one eye. She's probably going to pee at some point, and she might poop. So just, it's kind of like having the elderly at home. Just like John Chessar and Lacey are about a square apart. And so if you see John in the corner, know that's about the same thing as Lacey. In all seriousness, thank you, Berger. Good to see you. In all seriousness, she's a lot of fun. If she comes up to you or you have food, know she's opportunistic and she can eat anything at this stage of life. I really say whatever you want to do, just go roll with it. Because if I was 106, I hope somebody just lets me loose. And, so she'll probably roam around and then eventually take a few naps today. Thank you for your hospitality to her. She's been with us a long time. Mark and James, would you mind coming up? And I'd love for you guys to introduce your rookie class. And rookies, we're actually going to bring you right up front. So don't be nervous. But if you are going through your first year of training, would you please come join us? Because we want to meet you. Woo! Welcome, guys.
I think this is it.
Since what we just started down here with Chris, what we start with you with just your name and just really briefly why you're here.
Chris Cadell. I know Mark and Strohecker and a bunch of other guys from football, and they've been talking about it a bunch, and I figured, yeah, I'll finally come on out. So here we go.
John Pearson, been around this for a while. Just figured do something different, try rifle lacrosse, so here I am.
Perfect.
Quentin Pearson, I've been playing lacrosse in Oregon for about 15 years, so they couldn't think of a better way to get back to the sport that gave me everything.
James Burgess, I wanted the second job I could do with my wife.
Christy Toretto. I used to do all the intramurals for San Diego State University for 2 years. So I've done lots of officiating, but never lacrosse. So exciting for something new.
Nice. Great.
And they're here because of John Chesser. John Chesser. Well done recruiting.
Eric Schnebley. I had 2 boys that went through Lincoln, so I want my time to give back. So
Great.
Dustin Sluman, been around the lacrosse world for 10 years, worked for Lacrosse Northwest, play lacrosse. Just wanted to be a part of this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Your rookie class. Well, great job. And Mark and James, thank you so much for being great shareholders and training these new individuals up. So we're going to go around the room and introduce yourself, if you would. Your name, the region that you're serving in, years of service, and one thing that you are looking forward to kind of sharpening the sword on this year. So, Tom, let's start with you. Please, by the way, stand up when it's your turn and get to know the room.
Tom Carney, Portland area. This will be my 6th season. What am I working on? I think I'm really working on field communication, both with my partners, coaches, and the players.
Great. Scroggin.
Derek Scroggin, it's my 10th year. What I'm trying to work on is just staying consistent throughout the game, not having highs and lows, getting distracted, whether that's score or a missed call or something that goes on. Just trying to stay that consistent high level throughout the entire game.
Nice.
I'm Stroh. I've been around for a few years, and I just want to help you guys get better, men and women. Get better.
What about you, man?
Yeah.
had our first plots here. You hadn't heard a word from plot. What about you? Yeah.
No hablo inglés.
See?
Go ahead.
Shane, folks, this will be my 5th year out in the Portland area, and for me, it's learned to basically slow down in order to speed up, especially in dialogue, especially when things start getting calls or things like that, or dealing with coaches. Just take a deep breath first and just handle it at that level.
Great, Shane. Thank you. Brian.
Brian cooked a year and brought 9, and I'm hoping to make Stro better.
Okay, what are you really hoping to do?
So, gonna work on positioning this year because I shouldn't be a water buffalo after my latest Achilles surgery. It should be a little quicker. And as usual, ABC, man, always be counting. Want to be consistent with those counts.
Love it. Yep.
Guy Okerman, 3rd year, and I actually live right down the road, so Portland area. And the one thing, I just checked my notes from the last tournament I did. Apparently there's a lot of things I need to work on, but I really want to own loose ball situations. I find myself becoming more curious and less definitive, and so I'm going to have a quick, firm whistle on loose balls so kids don't get silly.
Great. Thank you, Jackson.
Mark Monson, 11 years doing this Portland area. I want to be a better game manager, so I'm going to work on my game management skills.
Love that, Mark. Yes. Well, we're going to let the rookies off the hook a little. So, Jack, why don't you introduce yourself?
Jack from Portland area. This is my 2nd year. One thing I want to work on is communication. We did talk about also like after calling a penalty, like verbally communicating that to the refs better.
Dan White, this is my 3rd year. I'm in the Portland area, kind of Portland South, so I get a lot of Salem games as well. One thing I always like to work on is basically adjusting my game based on the calls of my crew. That's something that I really was not good at my first year, and I started trying to work on last year. Is like I have my base level, but my base level is not what other people's base levels are. And if they call that, then I need to be calling that as well, so we stay consistent across the crew and don't upset coaches and players.
Well, a man that knows no other ability, Mr. Kyle Hamburger.
Hey guys, I'm Kyle Hamburger. This will be year 4. I'm in the Beaverton Hillsborough area, kind of homeless hybrid type thing. My one thing to work on this year is positive communication and just being a good teammate.
Great.
So you guys are being late.
No, you're good. You're good. Soren?
Soren Bush, out of the Salem area. This will be my 2nd year, and one thing I'm going to work on is just consistent mechanics, make sure I'm in the right spot to make the right calls.
Great job. Mr. Bergen?
Yeah, Kyle Birding out of Portland. I was doing the math, I think year 12, based on what other guys have said. And my one thing, I've taken a little bit of time off the last couple of years, so I am focusing on gratitude and just enjoying being back on the field and running games with some people I really enjoy.
We're so thrilled to have you back, Kyle. Brandon?
Brandon Oldenburg, my 2nd year, and shit, I need to work on everything. Hey, listen, it's humility. I wasn't very good last year. I sucked. Really
That's
bad,
not
so,
true. That is not true. I worked
need
a
to work
game
on
with you.
everything, but I want to concentrate on loose ball pushes, just because that can lead up to something else. Jack and myself had a fight over in December or whenever it was, and that really messed with my mind. Thinking, what could I have done to stop that, and what didn't I do, and stuff like that. And the pushes can lead up to something. So I just need to work on everything.
You did a great job in your first year, Brandon. So, let's go.
Clint Early, this is my 5th year. I did my first 3 years in Central Oregon, and last year was my first year in Portland, so this will be my 2nd. Portland area, and I have, like Brandon, I have a lot to work on, but my focus is going to be to be more curious. It's just understanding what's going on in the game and ask questions of you veterans to get better understanding of rules and how they should be applied.
Love it, Clint. Thank you.
Brian Platts. I live down in the Salem area. I've been officiating lacrosse 41 years. And I'm working on retiring, but in the meantime, I wish to be a resource for everyone here. So I work from home and I answer my phone and love talking lacrosse. So please call me if you have a question or a weird scenario. I mean, you should be talking with your crew, but I'm also here to know, just open communication. So good to be here.
Thank you, Brian. Scotty.
I'm Scott Weir, 11th year out of the Portland area. Working on, last year for the first time in my life, whatever sport I've ever done, I've never been injured. Last year I suffered an injury toward the end of the season, and so I'm really going to focus this year on taking care of myself, taking care of my crew, and just always improving, always getting better.
Love it, Scott. Thank you. Dr. John.
John Chesar, been on this 18 years now. I'm very much looking forward to savoring every minute on the field with you guys and Cindy. And the kids. I got my fingers crossed that at some point I don't find myself looking up at a bunch of you and somebody saying, "Do you think we ought to call 911?"
I'm the opposite. That's exactly where I want to go. And you tell him, dude, trust me, don't worry. This is exactly how he wanted to go. Mr. Shen.
It's Jack Shun. This is year 5, I believe. I'm in Canby, so I can go Portland or Salem, so you can see me all over. I really want to focus on true advantage, disadvantage, so slowing things down, and then seeing if there really needs to be a foul or a whistle.
Tom, fireman, paramedic, put him with John alone.
Mike Brooks, again, like I said, 14 years, on the way up this morning, leaving the house at 4:45, kind of dreading that, and then when I get here, I see all these people that, and I do, basketball, football, and lacrosse, and welcome. We're so inclusive. It is so awesome. You know, we don't just shake hands or whatever. I hug with most of you guys, and I really enjoy. Yeah, I really enjoy seeing everyone and working with you. So what I am working on is just enjoying. For more games behind me than in front of me, enjoying the moment, enjoying my crew, and just being a better crewmate. So welcome again. I look forward to, if I get up here, to work with you guys, all the rookies.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Robert Auerbach. I'm down in Ashland, Medford area, and this is my 7th year with OLOA. Just 2 things, working on slowing things down, letting the game come to me rather than injecting myself into situations. And like Mike was saying, I don't know how many games I have left, so what I'm really focusing on is trying to grow the game down in Southern Oregon.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm Matt Rosenberg, Portland area, 3rd year. Just eye discipline and just trying to catch any off-ball shenanigans, especially in front of the crease.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Caleb?
All right. I am Caleb E. This is year number 4 for me, and I'm going to cheat and do 2 things. Number 1, game management as far as game flow goes, pacing. There's nothing more frustrating than a bunch of stop and goes and long delays and stuff like that. Kids want to play and have fun. The other thing is my nonverbal communication with coaches and putting my pride on the shelf. Some study I read indicated that in high-pressure situations, 70% of communication is nonverbal. So having good stance, facial expressions, calmness, gotta work on that and not be snippy.
Actually, I'll just interject real quick. I just did the presentation for USA Lacrosse 2 Sundays ago. 88% of communication is nonverbal. 88% is nonverbal.
Hi everybody, I'm Brandon Nguyen, and I've been coaching for a while, so I've been in the association for about 8 or 9 years, but I took some time off to coach because I enjoy both parts of the game. I still play, but I'm back fully, and I'm proud to see and happy to see each and every single one of you that I've worked with over the years. This is a really tight-knit group.
Or yelled at.
Been yelled at. and all that fun stuff, but I'm really glad to be back in the Stripes. And I'm in the Portland area. So let's see. My one thing again is game management, just really understanding the flow. Someone said let the game come to you. That's a really good thing, but also to sell the call by being in the right positioning, and then just really sell that call. So that's my one thing this year.
Great.
Andy Roner, I'm in the Salem area. This is my 3rd season, and consistency is what I want to work on this year. Like consistency in how I hold my communications, consistency and the level of intensity we let the kids play, consistency with my teammates, my other Stripes out there. Kind of like what Dan was saying, making sure that our calls are all on the same level so that everybody knows what to expect. Keep the motions across the board consistent.
Great, Andy. James.
I'm James Just from the Portland area. This is going to be my 17th year repping. Like Scott, I had to cut last season short because of an injury, so primarily I want to make it to the end of the season again, and I want to work on not just getting along with coaches, but actively creating a positive rapport with the players and the coaches.
I love it. I love it.
Blake Loveless, Portland area. This year, I want to work on just clear, concise communication with the coaches.
Morning, I'm Damon Hess. I live in Northeast Portland, so I do games around Portland. Not very good at counting forward. Get lazy and look back, and then I've got to count, so I know I need to do better at that. But the session that we had last year with Henry Ling, the coach of Grant, I thought was super informative. Henry just talking about giving a coach your ear early so that they know they're being heard, and I've heard a lot of people talk about that, and that's something that I think John does a great job of. Had a really tense situation at Oregon City where he was able to bring coaches together and really calm things down, and instances like that make me proud to be a referee when you can regain control of the game after it starts to spin out. I think that's really important.
Great, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Mitchell Dean. I am back from, I took a brief hiatus over to Texas. Yeah. No, not for Texas, just for Tom over there.
Okay.
This is my first year back. I think my 6th overall, 5th or 6th. So after I knock off some rust, I want to work on good positioning, specifically being close to play when I need to be, being on top of that crease, being close to that dead ball, or that ground ball, that kind of stuff, so that I can see stuff. Because in my old age, my eyesight's starting to go. So.
Wow, Mr. Ross.
Ross Lancaster. I'm in the Portland area. I've been with OLA off and on since 2006. I've had an injury sabbatical and a coaching sabbatical during that time. Did a couple of years in Massachusetts before that. The thing that I'm looking to improve on is my sort of how I officiate my season between the whistles, and particularly between the final whistle and the opening whistle. Sort of taking care of my body, my recovery, so that I'm able to best perform between the other 2 whistles, the start and the end.
Oh yeah. Love it. That is great insight, Ross. Donnie.
Don Huber, 26 years. What I'm working on this year is just fitness. You know, I'm getting older. My legs are getting older, and I want to make the end of the season. So fitness, that's really.
We want you to too.
Yeah.
Great.
John Tellier took a little sabbatical. I work in hospice, so back after about a year. This is year 8 for me between Minnesota and Oregon, Washington. I really want to work on how do we use captains as a proactive way to calm things down. We meet with the captains at the beginning of the game, we have our speech, but we never really use them throughout the game. So how are we interacting with them during the game when the temperature goes up? Because I think that can really bring things down to communicate with coaches, communicate our expectations. So yeah, I really want to see how we can work with captains, not view them as an adversarial people. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Thank you.
I'm Craig Lyons, and I believe I am the northernmost Oregon person here. So I'm in Felina, Washington, actually, so north Portland. This is my 19th year, and I'm going to say the same thing I say every year when you ask this question. I'm going to try and stay focused for an entire game.
Evo.
All right, Devin Bentz. I'm out in Forest Grove, like I said, so I'm on the western side of Portland, 11th year. I've been really working on my shoulder during the off season, so I can get that flat.
You never have to.
And post game, I want to have a really good post game and be able to learn from our game. So that's what I'm working on.
Love it. Love it. Ned.
Name's Ned Wild. This is my, actually let me go over. From Portland area, I live in Beaverton. This is my 4th year. Honestly, this year, instead of, I want to work on throwing my flag instead of just looking at a kid and just saying, just get up. No, but I think for me, I was doing actually a lot of reflection this last year because I have kind of like gotten to the point where sometimes I just like, you're fine, like, but I need to remember, like, we're here to protect the kids. we're here to like step in and be involved. So a lot of humility for me this year, and recognizing that I still have a lot to learn. And so I'm looking for opportunities to continue for a few days.
Great, thank you. Nick.
Nick Harris, Portland area, 17th, 18th year, something like that. I plan on focusing on making the crew the best it can be, regardless of whatever role I'm in.
Love it. Thank you, Nick.
Todd Marshall, I'm on the west side of Portland, and this is year 7 or 8, I don't know how we count COVID, but I want to work on face-offs in terms of seeing violations better. I think I focus on the ball too much, and I need to take a wider view, and so that's something to work on.
Great, thanks, Todd. Alan.
Alan Koenig, year 4, Portland area. What I want to work on is communicating with coaches so I don't have to throw my flag so much. Using coach as an outlet to control the game.
Great, thank you.
Paul Stevens in Beaverton. This is 6th year, I guess. Work on communication, flow of the game, let me not be a part of the game, but as a ref, but let it go until it has to stop.
Will.
Yeah, Will Patton, good morning. Portland area, 2nd year back in the OLOA. I started in 2013. Career took a detour to the Bay Area, would not recommend. This year, I'm working on really my level and making sure I'm a better teammate with my crewmates. I think if you've rep with me, my louds can be really louds, and so I've got some great feedback, really controlling my level, my pacing, sort of my tone, my demeanor, making sure I'm the best teammate I can be with everyone in the room, and making sure that we get a good product for our coaches and teammates there. So thank you.
Nice work, Will. Oh, that's great. Introspection.
Jack Fairfield from Beaverton area. It's my 16th season doing high school lacrosse, but moved to Beaverton in 2023. And one thing was going to be focusing the whole game. Let's say like focusing on the little things, getting the signals good, the details, I guess. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, awesome. Note that Jack. Oh no, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay, all right, okay.
Note that Jack, Devin, and Stroh are doing what Nick, me, Platts, everybody wishes we had today. That'd be leaving early because we got assigned the Western Oregon State game. But no, these guys are departing early. But in all seriousness, no, they're going to be leaving about 10:30. And they are still going to have full credit. They're just going to watch the end of the video after their game. And way to kick off the college season. High Point played last weekend. This will be the first West Coast game played MCLA or NCAA this season. So great to have you guys out there, and thank you for representing. Somebody very special that I'm really, really pleased to see up here, and somebody who is one of our own members, Michael Bousain, is one of the coolest dudes you'll meet. He does this professionally. He is going to be recording not just the annual meeting, but for the first time ever, our veterans training sessions right here in this room. And the intent there, and when we were speaking with the OHSLA group and our board team is, hey, we do all these trainings, but we're not capturing them. And we're going to be able to compartmentalize by topic. You're going to hear a little bit about that from Tom Carney after our break. But Michael, why don't you talk a little bit about your time with the OLOA and why this project you're willing to, and by the way, we are compensating Michael for his work here, that he's obviously a professional in this field, but Michael's been kind enough, and by the way, he's driving all the way from Eugene to do this for us, guys. So Michael, introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Michael Buisan. I'm down in Eugene, started out in High Valley in 2020, or High Desert, didn't really do much out there. 5th year, the thing that I want to work on is creating a good pregame speech to like really draw my crew in so we're all on the same level and not having outside energies or influences come in and we're just all on the same page going in together.
Great job. Hey, Michael, thanks for doing this now. I'm going to now do some of our board as a team takes the season as a whole, and we do some awards for people who have really helped move the needle this season. So I'm going to invite, when you hear your name, would you please come up, accept just a small certificate on our behalf. But I'd like you to share a little bit about maybe your favorite moment of the season you just had. So starting us out for 2025 awards, our Rookie of the Year in the North, Jack Martin. Come on up, bud. Congrats, buddy. Great job. It's great to have you with us. You've got quite a few rookies in the room. You were this last year. What would you share with them right now?
I don't know, just like be confident in like what you know, because like when you second guess yourself, everyone second guesses you. So like even if you do the wrong call, just be confident in it.
Nice work, Jack. It's kind of like what we say about Stroh. Often wrong, never in doubt. Our rookie from the South, Soren Bush. Come on up, bud. Soren, I'm going to ask you to share the same perspective. A lot of rookies in the room. Great job, bud. You had a great year. What would you share with them, considering you were in their seat a year ago?
Rely on your mentors. Every crew member is your mentor. So talk with them, ask questions. If you don't know, it's fine. They will help you out. So rely on them.
Great job, Soren. We have a gentleman in our association, and for years, Neil Ryan and I would battle back and forth for most mileage. A lot of years. And sometimes I'd get him, sometimes he'd get me. And then along came this gentleman out of Roseburg, and Mike Brooks, for 4 consecutive years, has been the most miles traveled. So we removed the award because he's won it too many times. And quite honestly, Mike, I don't know that anybody ever is going to get your amount of mileage, so I can't wait. I bet your tax guy loves you on the write-offs. Our board talked about it, and Mike is on our board, and he's incredibly humble. And one of the things we wanted to do is actually recognize people like Tom Johnson and others who drive an enormous amount to come service the game. This gentleman's closest game is 2.5 hours away every time he has it. Our own Robert Auerbach. Why don't you, if you could, share with the guys why somebody who is so far away from the game still loves to give back, and that drive doesn't debilitate you every time.
It's starting to debilitate, but that's a good question. All I can just say, it's a calling. I've been connected with lacrosse for most of my life. I grew up back east, And this group is just, it's a whole different level from the other groups that I've been part of in different parts of the country. And I just want to be part of the brotherhood. I mean, that's one of the things my wife and I talk about. It's like, are you going to hang up the stripes this year? It's too much driving. And I said, I just love the times that I can get out on the field and just be connected. So that's what drives me.
I love it. Thank you, Robert. Great job. Robert literally spends double the amount of time as a game to just go to and from a game. So, I mean, that's an incredible commitment, and we love having it. Our last award, and I want to really credit the board for some great thought and dialogue, is the Don Huber Leadership Award. We used to give an award called the Eddie Travers Award, and we still respect that history. But it was really evident to the board 4 years ago who epitomizes Oregon lacrosse and leadership in this space. And it is none other than Don Huber. And it is okay to have living legends amongst your myth. So many times we wait on awards until somebody passes. And we, Fritz Hayes and the like. And Don exemplifies what we all love about this game. And this culture, Ned and I, a long time ago, used to ref hockey. Ned's doing it now. It's a close brother and sisterhood. It's nothing like this. And I know I hear it from you football guys and basketball guys. And so Don Huber has created this culture that we all enjoy, and it is incumbent on all of us to continue this. So each year, our most biggest award is the Don Huber Leadership Award. This gentleman is bedrock of Oregon lacrosse, but I think the best part, and once you obviously hear the name, you will probably certainly agree, is his willingness to mentor people at all levels of the game. And he has developed, our finest officials have come directly under his tutelage. And that is your collegiate officials, your championship game officials, almost to a T, have every single one of them been mentored at some point during their career by this gentleman. He is an incredible person, incredible husband, father. He loves this game. He has given more than most people in this room. And I want to welcome to the stage, and let's show him the love that he has given us, Brian Platts. Stage is yours, sir.
It has been long, and I've heard a lot of good things as you're going around the room, and the passion. Robert was just talking, it was a calling. When I first started out, I was playing lacrosse, got injured, and they needed officials up in Northern California. And back then, all you needed was cleats and red blood cells to officiate college. So I sort of got in pretty early, but it is a passion. I love it. And I do love the mentorship, and I totally meant what I said earlier, is I love talking lacrosse. And that's when we put a lot of college officials through the Salem area, just because we all sort of talked after games. Used to meet post games down at Thompson Brewery, but we talked about plays, difficult situations, great situations, and I wish to be that resource and talk. Call me if it's 5 minutes or an hour and talk about situations. So stay healthy this year. And good luck.
Great job, Brian. When you think about mentorship, that's him. Absolutely paying it forward. Yes, Scott.
Most of you know my brother Bob. We were repped here for many, many years. And the one thing when we talk that he says he misses the most is everybody in this room. Yeah. He said the brotherhood. He's back in Arkansas. He said it's nothing like that. It's these guys that make this whole thing special and incredible. And it's the biggest thing he misses.
Yeah, that's a great point, Scott. So those of you coming in, just ingratiate yourself to the group. The biggest thing that I would share that is the very toughest thing when you're first getting the whistle and first getting out on the field, number one is self-doubt. But on the exact opposite side, and equally as dangerous, is ego. You're here to learn. We're many, many years in. There's a lot of collegiate officials in this room. We're still learning every time we're out there. And so it is a ongoing process. With that, I want to share some pretty cool news. Those of you who have had any interest in the collegiate game over years, we have 3 of our officials from our association that are going to be evaluated for collegiate lacrosse this March. And we're very excited to welcome Brandon Wynn into that group. Jack Shun, who unfortunately due to his career cannot accept, but I would definitely want it to be known that Jack Shun was invited into that tryout. And although he is a year away, we got him in early because we just see this immense potential, and that's Dan White. So great job, man. There is a 4th. He's not here today, but that's Jimmy Sabara, which I know Brian will make you real happy. Jimmy has worked really hard in the high desert. And like Robert, Jimmy's closest collegiate game will be 3 hours away. But he's just an incredible official, and we want to have our younger officials coming up. So if you find yourself in your 20s and 30s, and this really isn't meant to be an age statement, it's just the NCAA is very open, and the MCLA and our region they're trying to bring a younger generation because Brian Platts retired after his 41st year. I turned 50. Birding is doing a great job. Devo came in and birding here, and so we've got some incredible. Nick's been at it for a long time. We're getting great. And so we need more Fairfields and Devos and Kyle out there, and we're really, really happy to welcome Brandon for that opportunity, as well as Dan next year, Jimmy, and who did I just forget? Jack. But when it works for you, Jack. Okay. So just real quick, I want to go through last year's points. This is really just to remind ourselves what our points of emphasis were last year. That's mentoring the future. We've talked a lot about that today. Discrimination and harassment protocols. In your packets, on the bottom, the last sheet should be a reminder, and we are going to talk in veterans training about this, but there is zero tolerance for very, very poor and it's not just racial slurs, sexual slurs, anything. We have a protocol. And rookies, you will all be trained on this in your class. There is a very precise and in alignment with OSAA policy of how we handle those situations. So know that we're going to be reviewing that to make sure we handle it properly. The safety of the student athletes. 10, 15 years ago, somebody gets lit up, and, that's a 50-50. And now, really, anything to the head that's inappropriate and the like, we've got to grab it out of the game, and if we don't, it's actually on us. And as I have reminded you for years, it's all on video now, okay? So we can't pretend something didn't happen and hope nobody sends an email into Brian and myself and Mark Monson. It is all seen. It is all captured. And we review that. So we got to do our job and do it right. We know and what equipment they have to be wearing as well. So this year, they have 6 key points of emphasis. Crease play and safety. By the way, and Mark Monson will be reviewing all this, and Tom Carney here on the second part of our afternoon when we go through the new rules. Equipment and uniforms. This just means this is a little clarification. They can have. We would never touch this, by the way. This is one of those where Commissioner Harris would call and go, "Hey, Tom, did any of your guys see this?" We would have no idea. Okay, we don't know if their numbers on the front are 8-inch or 10-inch. Do you? Please tell me you don't. Thank you. Illegal contact. We've kind of expanded what that space looks like, and again, we'll train on that. And then the withholding of the stick in play and the like. So we're going to go through that. Game management. We have a new we're introducing, so we've always learned and grown up with how many cones on a game? 7. Okay, we have the one across the field, the 4 corners, and now your boxes. We've expanded by 2 cones, so it's now 9 cones for a game to occur. And what we're doing is setting the player and coach's box. So this is required, and we're going to be checking this at least at the start of the season, if not periodically, to make sure it's there. It's for the benefit of the players knowing exactly where they can and can't be, as well as coaches, and it's up to us to administer. What this really prevents is teams coming together, getting too close to the table, interrupting substitution patterns, and quite honestly, the coaches want their own space. They want to tell their kids, hey, this isn't where you're going to be. Face-off procedures, love this year. How many times have we told the young person, hey, okay, move over, left to the right, nope, stand on the ground. And you repeat this over and over again. This now gives us a true mechanic. We're just going to illegal procedure. We're gonna talk to them once, and then it's up to their coaching staff and them to know what their rules are. So we got to get the play moving, and that this is a pace of play illegal procedure. And then goal scoring. Anytime the ball crosses the goalie plane, the plane of the pipes, it's now a goal regardless of how it got there. And we'll explain what situations we're talking about and why this is a rule change. Okay? Mr. Stroh, come on up, sir.
All right. Number of officials. You can see we had a high point, and then, of course, we had COVID, right? Every officials organization around the country, Canada, had problems after COVID. A lot of people hung it up. By the way, how many people do other sports? Look at this.
Oh, that's great.
Look around this room, right? So as I'm going through the slides, I want to encourage you, we need to bring these numbers up, and especially, Robert Auerbach is here, and he hasn't talked yet, but we might have 4 teams coming in because of his efforts and other people's efforts down in Southern Oregon. 4 new teams. This needs to go up, folks. We've got to get more officials in Ashland, Eugene, and down south. We've got to cover better, right? No longer can we have these road warriors. We just need to have more people in more places because these teams are going to be there. Sport's growing, all right? So you can see where we are and where we need to be. We need to bring this up 20%, okay? All right, number of games, you can see it's kind of leveled off. But what we're going to see, and Tom's going to talk about this more, is JV is going to come back. And Brian and OHSLA have agreed, right, Brian? You were at least talking about it, to go to JV to allow them to do fewer than 10 man, correct?
Correct.
Right. Eight
Right.
v eight.
And even sixes.
Even sixes. So
Even
sixes
sixes.
is going to be in the Olympics. And you know what? That's going to shoot up interest again.
Right.
Right? And we're going to get more JV teams coming in, more youth coming in. This game number is going to go up. So, again, officials, we need more. Teams are going to, we've got 4 more possibly coming in, right? I see growth coming in on the east side as well. After the Olympics, you know, there's going to be more popularity. East side, Portland, out towards the desert, maybe the Dalles, Pendleton, we've got to pick that up. But we'll see it grow. And as a result, the game number will grow. Okay, so again, some of you guys talked about being in shape. That's important too, right? You got to stretch, you got to be in shape, you got to be ready, we got to bring more people in. It's easy, okay? Again, number of games, number of officials per game. We do this really, really pretty well. Oh, am I running out of time?
Sorry, no, sorry.
Okay. We do this really well. If you're from Washington, they do 2-man games. They're all 2-man games.
Not this year.
Not this year.
What they say, yeah, not what they, yeah. Maybe, right. I mean, I think they're already hedging on that a little bit up in Seattle because they have so many teams and so many games, and they just don't have enough officials. But again, they've been covering the 2-man. We do them all free, and it's great. You really can cover the field better and see the field better. Okay, but you know, hats off to Tom and Don and Tom over on the other side, right? Number of officials, JV. This went down a little bit. right? Some of the JV teams dropped off. And we're gonna bring this back up. And again, hats off to OHSLA, Brian Platts and his crew. They're really trying to bring this back with some help to the team, so they don't need to have 15 JV players. They can go with less, okay? And then finally, we look at the number of officials, the rookie officials. These guys work games. Newer officials, you're gonna get games, right? And yeah, you know, well, you're water polo, you're gonna be swimming in the deep end. Start swimming. Now, we're there to help you. We're there to help you. Watch video, watch film, see it, because it'll go into your mind. So there's 1,001 videos online, right, that can really help you get there, okay? And we are here to help you too. Brandon knows this because he's been on the other side of the sideline. Sometimes coaches like to yell, but most of the coaches are pretty helpful too. They'll be there for you. They will encourage you as well. They understand what it takes to get up and win the game too, right? Don't take it personally. All right, look at these service milestones. I think we have somebody here. Don, aren't you way up here now too?
Don's at 900 something.
You're going for 1,000, aren't you?
Not this season, but it'll be close.
So these 500 hit, and Chris Davis, Richard Chris Davis on OLOA website and others. And congratulations to the other. Mark Monson, 300. Scott Weir, congratulations. Paul Stevens. Cheeseburger, well done. You know, look at this. He used to be a coach, by the way. Kyle used to be a coach. He used to yell at us. And look at him now. He's got 100 games. Anyways, congratulations to all of you. Ned, great job. Ned does hockey, and he's already at 100 games. He did a great job. So congratulations to all of you.
Okay, we got a couple minutes here.
Yep. This is mostly for the rookies because the rest of you are already donning the summer jerseys. The summer jerseys are specific to Oregon tournaments only. Future newsletters, probably beginning like in April, May, there'll be some specific instructions around if you are going to do summer tournaments and you do not have one of these shirts, there'll be some specific instructions in the newsletter around how to get one ordered. You'll be probably just emailing me and sending me money, and I'll be getting this in your hands one way or another. But these are a key part of our identity during the summer tournaments. And just one note about that, we have a larger quantity of larger sizes. These run small, so even if like you're a large or an extra large, go to a double XL. They are fairly tight. You want something that's comfortable during the summertime. Okay?
Schmediums.
Yeah. You want me to cover the?
Yeah, can I? The Medford tournament's not up here.
Yeah, we'll get it. Oh, we'll get it.
Well, do you want to talk about that real quick, Robert?
Yeah, so June 28th and 29th down in Medford is Rogue Rising lacrosse tournament. Last year was the first year, and the guys who came down really appreciated it.
It was first class.
It was a
Taken
great
care of
weekend.
First class.
Last year we had 18 teams for a first-year tournament, which wasn't a lot of teams, though. I talked with the tournament director, Mark Brown, about a week ago. He's got 44 teams committed already. Wow. And the reason for that is that there was a NorCal tournament that coincided with with our tournament last year. That's on a different weekend, so he's pulling up some Bay Area teams. So really hope you guys come down. It was a really great event, and the specifics.
Yeah, we're going to have the website will be updated. I'll be working with Brian to get the signups like we had last year. Make it super simple. I'll be getting details from the signers on the the specifics, game fee, what's going to be covered, travel, all that kind of good stuff. So look for that late January, beginning of February, so you can start signing up and blocking your calendar and your private life so you can do these tournaments. I'll just add Robert and the team down in Southern Oregon. They really took great care of the officials, and the venue is excellent. The fields are excellent. It was just a really good experience. So they started it off right, took care of us, and the games were fun.
Great.
Want me to do the white stripes as well? Or not?
The announcement about, yes.
Yeah, okay, so Tom sent out a survey a few months ago about considering moving to the 2-inch black and white stripe jersey versus what we use today, which is the 1-inch. Great feedback came back. Pretty high percentage was like, yeah, let's do the 2-inch. Ross Lancaster probably voted twice.
No, he just doesn't have 1-inch stripes.
So, long story short, the board discussed it. A couple things we're going to set up. We are going to wear the 1-inch stripes for the 2026 season. No changes. For the 2027 season, we will be going to the 2-inch stripe. We are working with a vendor who's going to have a really excellent website to allow us to order, or allow you to go in and order the choices you need, your long sleeve, your short sleeve. They'll all be sublimated uniforms, so that the flag, the Oregon logo, U.S. lacrosse logo will all be sublimated apparel. They'll be very, very nice. You'll be able to pay for them when you place the order for them, but we will be going to that 2-inch stripe for 2027. There will be a tremendous amount of information coming to you both through newsletter and separate emails to get you fully ramped up. But just anticipate that expense for this year or early next year for the new season.
Great job, Tom. So rookies, do not buy, unless you already have them, the 1-inch stripes. We have a ton of inventory, and Mark Monson is working with a gentleman that has a ton of inventory of the 1-inch stripes at an incredibly low price. But we don't want you shelling out a ton of money, because next year we're literally shifting to a different uniform. The great part that Tom alluded to is, and I already have had the presentation by the company, it's the same company that does our collegiate uniforms. As he mentioned, everything's sublimated, but you literally go on the site and you select Oregon high school jersey. That's all you need to do. They know all the patches and everything. So all you're doing is ordering by size. There's 4 options. There's a light, there's a short sleeve, a long sleeve light, a long sleeve medium, and then the weather beater that actually doesn't have a collar. It just pulls all the way up. They are so nice, you guys. And 68% of you said change this year. We heard you, but we need to give a little time for everybody to ramp up into the system. But again, rookies, please do not expend a lot of money to get 1-inch stripes for one season. We'd rather give you pass-down jerseys, because we have a lot of them, that guys who have retired and just...
Yeah, and I would say veterans, come to the veterans meeting.
Bring your old equipment.
Your older, maybe your second backup, bring it. Let's go give those to the rookies this year, because you won't be using them thereafter either.
Mr. Brooks, come on up.
All right, so most of you, we've been doing this for quite a while, and I have the honor, I wish I would have sent you a picture of Mr. Platts, Mr. Spicer, and myself.
Oh, I think I do have that photo.
Yeah, so this is a great event. This is high-level lacrosse. You can see who's playing. But this is an event that is in memory of Mr. Fritz Hayes. Unfortunately, I never got to meet him, but this gentleman passed away, and this is in memory of him. All the proceeds from this go to youth lacrosse. So Mr. Harrigus, who does the training for youth lacrosse, how much do you get from this when you're working with those guys? Are you doing scholarships? So this is a scholarship program.
Oh, we typically get $1,000 a year.
Okay. So anyway, this is a very good high-level game of lacrosse that we all wear Hawaiian shirts, and it's just a great opportunity to give back. Do we all get in free us here, or do we pay?
If we're volunteering at the door, you can get in for free, but it is a fundraiser.
And it's on a Saturday, and it's just a great way to give back. And then, like I said, the money that we raise goes to further lacrosse through our youth programs. So if you have a youth program, is it still on the site where you can fill out a request for a scholarship, and we take it up with the board, and it's a way of getting money into the youth programs.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. So we wrote $3,000 in scholarship dollars. For clarity, it doesn't have to be youth lacrosse. It's development of officiating in the state of Oregon, but we put a lot of it towards those programs developing youth. So we have an incredible partnership with the OHSLA. As an organization, know that we serve at their discretion. We are a partner of theirs. We're truly in partnership to better the game. Much like they have shareholders who are coaches, we are one of the OHSLA shareholders and a dear part of how we grow this game of lacrosse. Your board of directors team for this year is Commissioner Will Harris, who we'll hear from in a moment, Assistant Commissioner Jeff Melville, Brian Platts, and Jimmy Yu. A couple board members, and then the treasurer and secretary. You likely remember that name. Kent is still giving back through the game. He lives over in the high desert now. With that, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Will Harris and Assistant Commissioner Brian Platts to the front to talk to us a little bit about the OHSLA. That's okay. Yeah, no worries.
Can I get or actually, what I have is the agenda for Oregon we need next month.
You want me to plug it in?
Yeah, I can read it.
Why don't you fire that up and I'll do a switcheroo here.
Some of the similar comments that everyone's been talking about. I was gonna run through that stuff. Yeah, all right. I'm just gonna look at our agenda next month.
So, gentlemen and young lady, if you have not met Commissioner Harris before, we know him better as Coach Harris.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Not better.
Not anymore. Coach Harris was the head coach at Lincoln. 4 state championships there, and Oregon's only coach to produce the equivalent of the Heisman Trophy, and that is the Wharton Award. Peter Baum went through Coach Harris's system, and so when we talk about legacy coaching in the state, and we think of Mark Flood, we think of Coach Shannon, we think of Coach Dill and a number of others, do know that Coach Harris is the top of the top. And for him to give back to this game now, retired from coaching, has been a real treat. And I know he partners so well with Assistant Commissioner Brian Platts to really bring us in as a true partner into this game, because we both need each other quite a bit for on-field success. But great to have Coach Harris with us here today.
I got to sign in. What's the?
It's actually a free one. So if you go to PCC,
Yes?
yes.
Actually, I can do this. Sorry.
You good? Well, Coach Harris gets us set up. Do know that myself and Don and I believe Stroh will be coming with me, but I will be presenting next weekend at the coaches conference, going through the new rules, our personal points of emphasis, and know that one of them, and I am going to speak very directly and straightforward with coaches, is, and this has happened across the nation and it has to stop, when kids are getting in altercations, officials are getting contacted. You are not to be contacted by a student athlete at any time. They can't push you off and the like. So we are going to really talk about that point, that our job, if young people are coming together, is yes, to separate them. But at no time, no time should a student athlete be putting their hands on you as officials.
Okay.
And so we can't wait to be in front of the coaches group. And with that, This floor is yours, Harris.
Hi, my name is Will Harris. Thanks for that generous introduction. I did coach for a little bit, and many of you probably know me more deeply in that sense. I won't say better. I learned a lot coaching. I learned a lot from a lot of the old timers in this room. Made me a better coach. As I became more experienced as a coach, I think I worked in better partnership with a lot of you. Early in my years, I was yelling and hopping mad on the sideline, and I don't know. There's a seasoning that happens, I suppose, as well as I'm sure it happens with all of you. So congratulations to the rookies. You know, my advice as a former coach is have a thicker skin. Try to be in partnership. It's what we tell our coaches. Have a thicker skin. Be in partnership. You guys are both on the field for the same thing, which is to facilitate a competitive game between student athletes, and that's the major goal. I just wanted to share a little bit with you guys. OHSLA for whatever it is, 20 years, was created and has been trying to manage a competitive league of independent bodies, right? Of independent teams and programs. It's only recently that we kind of recognized our responsibility to be stewardships of the game across the state of Oregon, right? So there's a lot of new things for us, a lot of new responsibilities for us, trying to be strategic about how we go about doing things, and trying to really dive into the fact that it's about values, it's about growth, it's about youth, it's about development across the board. So happy to be in partnership with all of you, with Commissioner Hoffert, all your leadership. As you said, we're in this together. I don't know, we don't call them shareholders, we'll call them stakeholders, and recognize that we can't do this alone. So at our annual coaches meeting next weekend, we're going to talk about a few things that are different for us. Some of the initiatives that we have around growth of the game. And so I've got a couple things I'd like to share with you. Just they've been mentioned a little bit, but just so you know that we're committed to them as well as we go through this. So first thing that we're going to be as an OHSLA organization is a USA Lacrosse membership entity, right? That means that everybody on the field, coach and player, is going to be a registered USA Lacrosse member. There's some pushback about this. Yeah, they're a kind of a market agency, but they do represent lacrosse in this nation, right? It's the only governing body that we can be a member of. NFHS won't take us because we're not sanctioned in our state. We tried sanction. We can go into that or discuss. It didn't happen, mostly because people say it's a budget item. And if you look at PPS right now with a $50 million hole in the budget, you can see why they circled the wagons and said no new programs. We hope that in the future they'll be open to that. We hear from OSAA, very supportive. It's the delegate assembly, the actual school representatives that are opposed to doing anything new on their campuses, except for girls flag football and, in the end, men's volleyball. Different story. Yes, sir.
How can we change that? How can we as officials, what can we do?
I think what's going to happen in, not this year, probably 2028, is a little more concerted outreach and public relations campaign with smaller programs who fear that putting 30-person rosters together is beyond their capacity. It's part of the reason why we're looking to smaller sides, 8s and 6s, which is what football does across rural Oregon. But to really run a official 6s league for small schools or entry schools, don't have the mechanics of all that worked out, but here's what we're trying to do with JV, just to skip ahead, is to allow them to play 6s, right? It's a lot easier. Girls football did this very successfully, to a small spring season, small sides, get people out and play. And that's what we want to do, and recognize that it's about development. And it's about getting sticks in people's hands and getting those guys on the field in a competitive environment that allows them to really play the game. So I think that, over the 2 years, we're going to showcase smaller sides so that those administrators can realize they can do this with less. We would consider geography gets hard out on the east of Oregon, but, is there a way that we can work with co-ops in some of those leagues? Is it a sub-tier league that allows some groups to play together just because they don't actually have those numbers? I don't know. We're very open to that. OSAA was very open to talking to us about how those things work. So we hope the OSAA board was supportive of us. We'll continue to work with them. We need to do some work with the delegate assembly. We were 3 votes short, and there are 20 small voters in there that we could swing. So hopefully, yeah, I'm a little bitter about it, but if you're in PPS, this year OHSLA voted to accept men's volleyball as a sanctioned sport, and immediately Beaverton and PPS said they weren't going to carry it. So there are downsides to OSAA, and it could be that PIL says they're not going to be OSAA, and then programs like Lincoln and Grant and Ida B. Wells are in a really tight spot. So we need to do a lot of work around the PR on that, knowing exactly what's going to happen when those votes happen. And if they can't cry a budget issue, we'll be in a lot better space. So we hope, we don't know, we're going to work on it. Didn't really prepare not to have that come off. Really, one of the things that so USA Lacrosse membership is part of that. We want to be part of a governing body. USA Lacrosse gives us that. It will also give us some access to developmental funds on equipment and money to do some of the things that we want to do. You guys talked a little bit about 6s and 8s and smaller numbers. We do not want to run fifth quarters. All right, our priority, and we're going to talk about this at our meeting next week, we don't believe fifth quarters are a good idea. We don't believe they're developmental. We feel they sometimes wind up in really bad emotional spots, right? You get a lot of kids swinging down from varsity that are not JV players, right? And these are hard things for you guys to manage. All those JV guys are sitting around for an hour waiting to play for 12 minutes. So first of all, any JV activity has to happen before the varsity game. If they're going to play a fifth quarter, which we're still allowing them to do, they have to play it before the varsity game. All right? We prefer that they look at their rosters, that they talk to each other and communicate, and they schedule an 8s game or a 6s opportunity. Right? So those are on the calendar. These are opportunities for them to talk to each other, to say, here's my team, right? I don't know if I can field 10, or I've got 6 people out this week. I can't field 10 this week. Would you be willing to play 8s or 6s? Right? We're going to rely on our coaches to communicate to each other and be in communication with you about how that's happening. But ideally, those games are going to be scheduled up front on the calendar, and you'll know when you're assigned. All right? There are going to be some hiccups. So have some grace. We're going to ask our coaches to have some grace. Have some grace. It's not supposed to be a gotcha moment, right? We're talking about promoting development of the game and the sport. This isn't an opportunity for people to stash a bunch of varsity guys down on JV and run over their rival at a non-competitive level, right? So again, this year, we reinitiated the idea that if your varsity player plays JV games, he's not eligible for postseason honors. All right? Because now they don't have to drop guys just to make the team, right? They can play 6s or they can play 8s. People complain that 6s doesn't have the defensive framework that a full field does. True, I get that. It does tell your teacher to get back in the hole, though, right? It does tell you to move, play the whole field, right? We're not going to play it with poles, right? Everybody's going to have a short stick. Where do they get their pole work? They'll have to work on that somewhere else, right? It's going to get them on the field with a ball in their stick, operating like a real lacrosse player. So 8s, I think, is a little bit easier, right? Same size field. You're just taking off an attackman and a defender, right? So the middies stay the same. Offside's really kind of the same. When you look at it, they've got to have a goalie and 2 defenders back on their defensive end. They're going to attack the cage with 5. So that's a little different mentality, right, when you count. But knowing that going in, I think you guys can deal with that. And remember, no gotcha moments. It's about development. We're going to lean on our guys to grant you guys grace and just do the same with coaches. 6s, it's a smaller field. I'm pulling stuff just off the World 6s website, but the intention is not to fundamentally change the game that we play. And 6s may have some individual rules that I don't know we want to get hung up on. The rules pages are like, 6 pages long. I want to play field lacrosse in a 6s environment. So there's no offsides happen when the goalie moves up, steps over the line. There's some particular wording on that. But the other changes, there's a shot clock. And I think with all the cell phones, the table can
We're gonna actually run it on our timer.
You're going to run it on your timer, all right? So, like,
we'll
I
do
think,
it. You're gonna start your 20 on change of possession with the twirl. When your timer sounds, you're gonna give a visual 10, because it's 30
Great.
seconds total to get a shot on cage or off goalie.
perfect answer, right?
Coaches aren't gonna have to worry about a thing, there's no hidden, because instead of starting with the 10 count, we're gonna end with the 10 count, so they will see the last 10 seconds visually.
Great. Again, the idea is to get more kids on the field playing the game with a stick in their hand. That's what we're trying to do. So thanks for your help on that. If there are issues, like we haven't done it, you guys really haven't done it. As there are issues, let's work through them. As we roll into the season, if you guys talk and have something you need us to communicate or you want to communicate next week.
I'm gonna give all the coaches, and then I'm gonna do a video training for
Okay.
our officials and our coaches.
Okay. I'm excited by that. I think mentioning the Olympics, that's obvious one part of it, but it's also about growth into rural areas and non-developed areas. Let's provide the fewest barriers to participation that we can. USA Lacrosse is very much all into sixes right now, given the Olympics, so we're expecting a little bit more support around some of those things. We have. I would love to run a rookie sixes tournament this summer that allows kids that have been in some of our other initiatives over the spring and fall a place to get to play more competitively. This might be JV level or entry level. Not looking at showcasing our elite talent. We have private clubs that do that. I really want to focus on the development of the B and C players. Right? The A players are finding their places to play. They're finding the coaching they need. They're getting their exposure. Yes, a lot of them are paying for it. I'm sorry for that. But in terms of growing the game, we got to make sure C and B become B and A. And that's kind of my philosophy, at least, around what we're doing. Some of you may have noticed, or not, that OHSLA has a new Instagram page. So we're trying to yank ourselves into the current day. The thought is really to create more exposure for the game, create a broader base of understanding of what lacrosse is, entryways to understand and enjoy the game. So one of the things we've done is Team Tuesday. Teams are trying to publicize their own or promote their own stuff on the page. We are going to do a OHSLA introduction to board members. So I have some things to fill out for myself, and Brian will have to do it. But my point in that is I don't know if there's an opportunity that you guys can plug in. Maybe your leadership does a little entry so people know, or
We can enter our team, the team in stripes.
yeah, right. So and then there's also across the web, you make the call stuff. Maybe there's a way to kind of from a rules basis for people who know a little bit more about the game. You can run, I don't know if you even do these in your training, but you make the call. Snippets and can respond when
That'd be cool.
right, and we do that. You make the call Thursdays, and hopefully we have a valid, credible, polite, courteous conversation about rules before it has to happen in the heat of the moment. But trying to use the tools like that to better promote the game across the state, provide better entry into the game across the state, and so we're also getting together to talk about how we update the website so there's a more graphic interface that is engaging and welcoming with content that changes. The website that you guys access in terms of the work that has to be done stays the same in the back end, right? This would just be like, for people who aren't in the know, who want to know about lacrosse, what are the great cool things we have going on? So some of the things we're trying to do to grow the game, but I think our most interesting component, and many programs do this already, is getting lacrosse into PE in schools. I know as a coach, I did that dog and pony show. It was a lot of work, but it benefited us, right? We had strong numbers for a long time because of that. Lots of programs do this, West Lynn and Westview, and OES, it's all there anyway. But trying to promote this amongst all our programs and give them a template of how to do this. Westview does a fantastic job on this. In coordination with the girls program and the school, they have access to all of their entry middle schools, right? They have kids that get excused absences and service hours for going down and participating in the PE training. So really want to, and we'll share this with all our coaches next week, but really that's an initiative that we really want to drive. And it points particularly to the question of East Side growth in the Portland metro area, right? Damon Hess is leading a charge out there to really create some momentum where we could pull a new varsity team out of that area in a couple of years, 3, 4 maybe. I won't put too much pressure on you. But he's already got commitments in the Park Rose district and space and fields and interest. And we ran a small Trilax week this summer out that way. And I understand Coach Brian Wood will be here later. He ran a similar thing out on the west side. So really trying to use OHSLA resources and influence and effort to get out and talk, not just talk about growing the game, but provide opportunities for new people to access and enter the game. So we're hoping in a vision that we can interest Outer East and create a string connection to Hood River, right? That then allows us to push further east and connect High Desert, right? So that's kind of the tactical strategy around that, right? If we could get Park Rose or Reynolds or Sandy or some of those schools in there, really solidify our reach across the range. Make it easier for those high desert teams to come in. Now they're looking at Eugene games because it's easy to get across. Well, if they could just get up to Hood River, that might help them out. And hopefully that helps our push farther into Eastern Oregon. On that front, what the OHSLA is with the OGLA is going to invest in is a Coach Across America position. This is a postgraduate lacrosse player who may be taking a gap year for whatever reason, maybe employed and want to do something around the game. But it's a younger guy for the most part. I think, Damon, you actually may have somebody in mind. So I'm sorry if he doesn't fit that description. But this is about 10 hours a week. It's an AmeriCorps position. So they get an educational grant afterwards and a small stipend. So they do have to be doing something else or living at home or doing whatever. But it'll provide us boots on the ground in the East County to actually run some of these programs in schools, right? USA Lacrosse will backstop that with their own curriculum. They have a coordinator that can talk to district level people about lacrosse and how it fits in an athletic curriculum and portfolio. So really excited to kind of dive in on that. Really thankful that Damon's taking the charge, leading the charge out there. And like I said, Coach Wood has done similar. On the west side, we're looking at McMinnville interest and trying to tie that in, and then that is a springboard out to the coast. You heard a little bit about Mark Brown down in Southern Oregon. I've invited him to come up next week, talk about lacrosse in Southern Oregon. He's looking at a couple JV teams this year, so there is going to be a need for some both development, and Brian and I have talked about how we help develop refs in the Southern Cone, and some road warriors down to that area. Tournament's a great idea. I was going to mention that, so really thankful for that. I'm hoping Mark will come up next week and talk to the coaches about what he's doing, and we're going to provide some time at the end of our session for coaches who don't have games or who are interested in the tournament to talk to Mark about how they support that. OHSLA wants to do some additional things like provide teams from Portland that are traveling to Medford. Can we help with their travel costs, right? Or if he wants to come up to a tournament, can we help with his travel costs? So recognizing that geography right now is an issue, particularly for people on the perimeter of the lacrosse Willamette Valley, I suppose. And we don't have extensive funds, but we do have a little war chest, and we're going to start spending that in support of the growth of the game. And the other thing we're going to do, we did add several board members, new board members, a little bit more capacity. We're all volunteer too, and we've all got our jobs, but we have a passion for this. Going to start writing some grants to make sure that we have the money to do the things that we want to do. We got to pay Coach Across America. We got to pay travel support. We got to help new programs with equipment. Want to help you guys in your training. All of it driven down to the youth level. How do we get people in? Do we have equipment cupboards, that loaner lockers, things like that? So hoping, and I haven't really got there yet, but I do have a commitment from myself and some board members to dive into fundraising and branding and sponsorships, so that the resources we have are available for the things that we want to do. Good Lord.
The JV tournament idea, 2 of them.
So, sorry, jumping around a little bit, but the idea of development and the idea of JV as development. JV is not competitive. We don't want kids dropping down from varsity to rule the roost, right? In my mind, JV should be about the players that aren't getting any time. If you have a small team and you've got your 6 lowest players that aren't going to see any time in a varsity game, that's different. Those guys I want to see play, right? That's fine. And so we're creating 2 JV tournament opportunities where either you can bring your whole JV team, or places that only have those bottom 5 or bottom 4 or bottom 3 could come together so that they're not trying to stack a JV team in a tournament with guys that don't belong, and we're making sure that those bottom 6, 5, 4, whatever they are, get to play in real minutes, in real time, on real fields with real refs. So, Brian, the date on...
The first one that we've really tried to lock in is sort of a southern one in Eugene. We're working with Josh Barber, and that is the Saturday before the season starts. I think season starts on...
It's the 14th and 15th, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So the idea here is this isn't tune-up for your varsity team. And we're going to rely, that message has and will be sent. Josh is aware of it. The idea is, here's a chance for the guys that just signed up, are not going to play, right? You've got a small varsity team. You're not offering a JV. They're going to sit on the bench in most games. They're going to get practice time. Here's a chance for you to put those 6 guys in with another team and have them all play. Or you can take your whole JV team if you actually have that. So I think lots of people aren't sure whether they have JV yet, but with a smaller format size, hopefully we'll be able to schedule that with more certainty and have real teams. So one, your scheduling is easier and you understand what's going on. But yeah, that tournament before the season starts, and then one later after spring break, I think it was April 18th or something, up here in the Portland area. We still need a host for that. Same idea. Bring your guys that aren't getting playing time, right? This is developmental. This is not a tune-up, not a way to get back at anybody. This is not the Sisters Tournament. This is get your guys that need playing time, the playing time. One of the things that this isn't necessarily relevant to you guys, but just for your knowledge, trying to rely on our conference structure. Each conference has 6 to 8 teams. They each have 2 reps. Want to drive our governance down through the conferences. So at our meeting next month, we'll have the conferences meet. We want to make sure they're SOPs, that conferences aren't being led by one traditional voice. There's been a lot of coaching turnover. There's still an amazing amount of experience in the conferences. They would need to share that so that new guys understand. We have several new coaches, Hood River, Burns, there's a number of them. So, Bend, yes. So wanting to try to take the opportunity, force them to look at their SOPs, make sure they understand, force them to commit to having 2 representatives, and give them a chance to talk about their conference challenges that are going to be different by region, I would assume, and by length of longevity, so that we can get a better idea at the tip of the spear as to what really needs to happen for our conferences and our teams to be successful. Haven't done it yet, but we need to include program administrators. Some programs are led by strong coach personalities. Some programs are led by strong parent administrators. Some programs have neither. But want to also have an avenue for parent administrators to correspond and work with the board, where the coach turnover may not have the same longevity that other successful programs do. Parents wind up in roles that they don't understand. Just thoughts in my head going forward. In all of that, really thankful that we have a strong body like yours to partner with. It is a partnership. Try to be responsive to Hoff's calls what he does, and as the season moves on, we'll work in concert about problems that come up. I agree. Hoffa's talking about no player contact. I think he meant physically. Like, you guys shouldn't be contacted by anybody other than Hoff, right? I don't even really want, after the game, coaches shouldn't be reaching out to you and saying, what was that call or whatever, right? So we'll try to work on that. I don't know to what extent that is happening, but that is, just so you know, if it does, that is not the proper form of contact, right? And that should be related to us so that we can address that. I kind of think that make the call would be a great way to give some of those people an outlet. We are not taking complaint correspondences from parent administrators. Any complaints from the field or the game need to come to OHSLA directly from the coach. So because only the coach can decide in his playing experience whether the event, activity, circumstance was egregious enough that he wants to bring it to our attention. We're not going to let parents do that. It's just not an efficient way to respect your time or ours. So when those things happen, we talk together, we look at rules, we look at video, we make a decision together about what happens, and our emphasis is to stand behind OLOA, right? Our emphasis on the field, in the moment, is to stand behind your decisions. Where it turns out maybe there was a different decision to make, I think that's a coaching moment, so to speak, right? That's a lesson learned. That's a teaching moment. But we're not in the business of second guessing your guys and your decisions on the field, right? That'll be a communication, and that's all on your court. And frankly, in my short experience, I think we've only asked to overturn one of your calls in conversation with both the refs that were on that call and with Tom. So we're not over your shoulder looking at that. We're here to facilitate the game just as you are. We want to support you doing that and know that you're not on quicksand or shifting sands when you're out there committing your time to the game. Anyway, awesome. That's kind of what I have. I would answer questions if you have any or suggestions.
Christy, she's an educator on the physical education side. How would she go about getting the kids or whatever? Who would she talk to about getting that?
What program? What area?
I'm at Hillsborough School District, and I'm the recess lead, and so I have lacrosse balls out there that they play with all the time. But
so
maybe
Carl Onquist, right, is the coach out there. Our preference would be for us to get PE into schools. Our our high school programs have to be the boots on the ground. Yeah. And so we're going to talk about that next week. But that would be the best connection. And then if he needs help, he can reach out to us. There are alumni in town, or they're from various programs that would come in.
Because even just starting with the basics and getting them enhanced is going to help that.
So the Westview program relies on there's a business something course that some students take, and if they take that course, they can get credit for service in the community, whatever. So there's a school mechanism that gets actual high school players down there, which is a great connection for the program itself.
Awesome.
Carl Onquist, you can email me, and I can get you that contact information.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Additional questions for Coach Harris, Commissioner Harris.
It's
going to be a hard one to
habit.
break.
It's a little habit.
Just kind of curious.
You say it with so much more respect now.
That's not true.
I know.
Come on, man.
I'm making fun of myself, man. I'm making fun of myself. Yes.
I'm just curious if there's a process in place to request game film for an official.
We have in our SOP that teams are not mandated to provide film, but are expected to respond to our request for film. So I don't know if you want to individually, or if there's a way that we want to work that. I don't.
He's got to go through the league, Jack.
Okay.
If you have an issue on a game and you want the film, I need you to email me, and then I go through Coach Harris and Assistant Commissioner Platts to get that film.
And so I was thinking about more from a development side, like if you wanted to watch more game film, like that
too.
That too, but that's we can also do that.
So we are starting, there's, what's the video?
Huddle.
Huddle, thank you. So we have a number of coaches that have raised their hand and said, sure. So we put in an account, and so we're trying to build that up. We'd love to have everybody's huddle, not everyone's on huddle, but we're starting to build that arsenal of teams that are on huddle and have the ability of officials to go in and watch game film. So
this is
at
good.
another date, I can tell you what teams we have, and if there's other teams you would love to see in there, I can try and make that happen.
Yeah, 'cause I think, I mean, I would tell my players this the same thing, right? Watching the game is the best way to be better at it, and certainly getting a feel for that from an official standpoint, probably same logic.
Any last question for Commissioner Harris?
Brian, did I miss anything?
Just a couple things. One is the SOPs. We've spent some time going over the SOPs. They're going to be released for the 2026 very shortly, I hope. So Jeff was supposed to be doing last minute review, but they are super close to being released. Yeah, that's probably, yep. Okay.
We can make commitments here. There's two of us.
No, actually, I'm talking later about, I was going to talk about the board minutes and transparency, but I talk a little bit later and I'll do it then.
Okay. Yeah, but I'll mention that because this is an important thing to me, and I think not a lot of people around the state understand what the OHSLA does or what value it brings. So part of that is Instagram, the publicity about the game and who we are, right? But we also want to be more transparent in how we're governing and why we're governing. This is part of the push for the conferences to make sure that it's not just one voice, but every team has a voice in that conference structure. But also to make sure that people realize the board meets monthly. We have minutes that'll go up on site. Our bylaws will be up on site. And trying to be open and transparent about how we're making decisions so that people can understand that. So that they realize what OHSLA does, because there's a lot of work that goes into not just running the season, the championship, the Fritz Hayes, but also looking into the growth of game across the state. So I appreciate your commitments to that. And thank you for the opportunity to say hello and, share what we're doing.
We have an incredible relationship with the league, and I really do want to commend Coach Harris. He didn't have to do this. Brian didn't have to do this. They do this for the love of the game. They are wonderful communicators. When we have issues, do know that a lot of video gets sent in, and we review your antics. Most times you don't hear from me. If you do, it's private. We don't put it on blast to the association, so rookies understand. We review film. The people who are reviewing film is formerly Russell Dean, of course Brian Platts, myself, and Don. For this year, with Russell's departure, we're very, very excited to have Mark Monson step forward as our chief rules interpreter. So thank you for your service there, Mark. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Will. In addition, Brian, myself, and James this year, Secretary Strohecker is going to join us on reviewing the videos. And we did a really cool thing. Brian just helped us set this up. And it would appear this is for coaches, but actually it's for all of us as well. rules@ohsla.net. If you have any rules questions, you can email those in. It'll get reviewed by the four of us, and then you will hear a response through Mark Monson, which Mark really, again, appreciate you doing that. The last thing I'd say is, hey, Hoff, I had an ejection. I called you. What happens next? Because a lot of times we don't close the loop. 9 times out of the 10, Brian and I will call and go, do you see it? What do you think? Yep. We did overturn some ejections last year. that we had assessed on the field at 3 minutes full time and an ejection for high hits. We go through some of them. That's why I always remind you when you're making those big calls, do know that we are going to see the video. And so you really want to have your calls nailed. I was on the first ejection of the game, which was not challenged and not overturned, but it happened at Canby. Trey is an awesome coach there. His kid goes high, 3 minute, gone, initiated to the helmet. Canby is a wonderful program. What happens the very next week? Their second ejection. Why we have to be incredibly careful about this and why we look at these is every ejection comes with a fine, and the more they lump, the higher the fine. At one point, Canby was facing a $1,500 fine. You better be right on the ejections when you're going to tag a team for $1,500. Because that's not a program that has $1,500 sitting in a bank account. And so that's why I just remind you, when we are making that significant of a call, it's got to be there. And so we were able to review one of them, and it got put down. But they still, I think, Brian, wasn't it like 300 plus or 500?
300, 500,000.
Yeah, I mean, it ramps. So do understand, those are huge calls. Doesn't mean we don't call them, but we got to really have it if we have it. So give me 1 second, guys. Hey, Coach Miller, how are you?
Am I parking in lot 12 here?
Question, Mark? Yes, and Chris, we have Devin Bentz is out in front waiting to guide you.
Do I need to pay for parking or anything?
Nope. It's all free today. See you in a minute, Chris. Thanks, buddy. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
That's one of our presenters. So we need to make up some time, guys. If I could, Don, you're going to follow me in my treasurer's report. So real quick, Locke isn't here. Dr. Locke Chandler, you guys, if you haven't ran a game with him, I mean, amongst the best of the best. Locke works on Saturdays. He is one of those on a pre-approved absence. One of our just outstanding veterans. Appreciate what Locke does. And what he does is manages our books. Okay? So what is contributing into our account is twofold. It's the dues that we, at the end of the year, you pay a small percent that goes into the association's budget. And then the other item that comes in is our Fritz Hayes dollars. They are tied in one account, but we keep accounting for two separate records. The Fritz Hayes dollars are going out into the community. Again, you can apply for a grant if you're a program, a youth program, or you're doing junior official training. You can apply with us, and we send those dollars into the community. And then the other part is we watch the percentage that we peel. We don't need to have a war chest. We want about $5,000 in case something catastrophic were to happen with one of our members. The rest, that's why we adjust the rate yearly of how much we're paying, and we actually have been down the last couple years because our account's pretty stable. We want you keeping as much as the money as you can earn, while giving the board and our organization as a whole just a little bit of buffer space. So here's our cash position right now, which is pretty solid, some gives and takes. We have expended a little more this year. We're doing the investment with Michael Buisson on all the filming. We bought electronics, which we're going to talk about, and time-wise, we'll talk about that after our break. And we're going to talk a little bit about the pilot program we're doing there. And we're investing in and it's kind of counterintuitive. Why would you advertise? We're going to buy a giant tent awning that's going to all be logoed with our logo. Yes, it's going to call attention at tournaments. That's where those guys are. But it's also for all of us going to do what? That's where those guys are. So we're going to know where each other are and have home base and a logoed nice tent to keep us out of the elements and the like, both hot and cold. Donnie, let's walk through our negotiation with the league. And they're great partners on this.
Perfect.
And you have this in your packets
In
as
your
well.
packet. So we got a pay raise this year. I was just going through it. I was just adding it all up. If you do a JV game and a varsity game this year, With the travel, you're gonna make $172.25. That's not bad for an evening. All right? I remember when I started, we were getting 20 bucks a varsity game. So this is doing
Back in NAM.
Okay, so you can see where the raise came from. JV, they upped JV game this year. And L2S is all the same right now. So we're in great shape. Pretty easy. And then mileage, look on your sheet, if you go out of district, for all your rookies, that means there's a Portland Metro District and a Southern District. So if you go out of district, you get a mileage fee. So in Portland, you get $13.25 if you do any game in Portland. That's the mileage. Okay? If you travel down from Portland to Eugene or from Portland to Salem, then you go into mileage. So it's the OSHLA has been very fair with us. They've always negotiated, well, actually it's Tom, has negotiated great rates for us. So we keep going up every year. I just wanted to let you know about that. One other thing for you rookies, just a little housekeeping thing. I have jackets up here, all the sizes, so after the meeting, come try on a size jacket, and then I will deliver them to your rookie class. Okay, but at least you'll know what size you need. Okay, thank you very much.
Great job, Donnie. Thank you. Okay, Devin is welcoming our speakers up front. So what I think I'm going to do, let's take our 5-minute break right now. Let's be back here in 7 minutes, right at 10 a.m. sharp, everybody.
All right, guys, when you got, am I ready?
Yeah, let me go. So Devo, start with
Okay,
independent
contractor. When you guys came in, this was in your packet. This needs to be signed and turned into STRO, or else you will not be eligible to rep games. But the lawyer lingo, the main important thing here is at the end of the season, when you get your check, taxes won't be taken out of it. Okay, that's your responsibility to save up for that. And know that Uncle Sam's going to take their share. Also, during the year, you can write off your miles and stuff. If you're an independent contractor, there's an app that can help you out with that. There, if you have any questions, I'm sure Mark, our lawyer in charge here.
Yeah, he knows a lot. Everyone knows what 6 minutes a minute or 2 minutes an hour.
Did I hit anything on the Did I miss anything on the independent contractor?
I'll tell you a benefit off the website, and Brian helped pioneer this. And one thing, when you print your end of season statement, it will give you the mileage that you traveled. That is directly what you turn into your accountants. Okay, so you don't have to guess how many miles I traveled. What they do is aggregate by zone your assignment, and then literally you hit print, and it will tell you how much you earned in fees and how much you earned in travel. That travel is your deduction, so it's very easy, and your accountants love it.
New officials, your gear and everything. Pretty sure you can write all that off, right?
Keep all your receipts for any gear, meals. This cannot be construed as tax advice to the camera. You heard it here. This is not tax advice.
All right, so make sure that's signed and turned into STRO. Next one, conflict of interest. What's up?
Are there more of those forms?
Yes, there are more of the forms. Where are they?
Well, we did run out of packets because there's 48 of you in the room. I printed 45.
Okay.
It's on the website.
Well, and we already signed ours at our new.
Oh, perfect. We got a few extras.
Just set it here and you can hand it in.
Who needs forms? Okay, Todd, come on up.
All right, next one, conflict of interest. If you have any ties to any high schools that you don't think you should be repping games, write it on the form. For example, Brandon Wynn was a coach at Lincoln. He's probably not going to do any Lincoln games.
Not probably.
Yeah. Todd Marshall is our announcer at Sunset, okay? He's not going to do any Sunset games. If you have any tie to any high schools, let us know so that you don't get assigned to those games. Sound good? That needs to be signed and turned into STRO as well. Next one, please. Social media. All right, this is huge. we already heard Coach Harris or Commissioner Harris talk about how they want to start implementing social media. That's a double-edged sword. If there's one thing that can get us on the national map, it's social media. For example, if you go to YouTube and type in big lacrosse hits, you will see big lacrosse hits. You will see refs in the comments. You will see people calling out sometimes who the name of the ref is, where the school's at. That's not what we want to be on the news for, right? So social media, be careful what you post. Be careful the way you say it. We don't argue on the field. We don't want to argue online. Everyone's got social media. Coaches have social media. Players all have social media. Snapchat. Everything we do is on social media. So make sure that you keep that in mind and you're representing us when you post. Sound good? Did I miss anything on social media, Tom?
There are consequences for poor behavior when it's social media.
Right.
And including game removal. Do not put your board in that situation. Just don't do it. Do not do it.
I love social media. I normally post, hey, I love being at Sally, I love the tournament, or
we're good with that.
The guys, but don't get into anything that could, another great game at this high school. I don't know, anything that could be subjective in that way. That needs to be signed and turned into SCRO as well. You want me to do this right now?
Yep.
Sally. Who's all been to Sally? Awesome. Sally is awesome. It stands for Sisters Annual Lacrosse Invitational. For you new guys.
You are going.
Yeah. It used to be mandatory. It used to be mandatory for first, second year officials to go. We strongly encourage it. This is a great time for you to get out there to ref. It's kind of like near the end of the season. So you will get evaluated. You can get seen maybe for some playoff games. You can get on-field evaluations right there. It's a really fun weekend. It's on a Friday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We head up to Sisters, and we get our own Airbnb. It's pretty fun. The OLOA will host a dinner Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've had ribs before. We've had flank steak. What did you cook last year? Did you cook last year?
I mean, Tom prepped a lot of it, but it's flank steak.
Flank steak. I mean, we eating good. All right, we're having a lot of fun. We play poker. It's a good time for the camaraderie to meet each other, especially for you newer officials. What else can I say on that? You get paid right at the end of the game, right at the end of the tournament. Okay, you walk away with a check. What am I missing? Am I missing anything else?
Just a ton of games.
Yeah,
a lot
you
of
get a ton
repetition.
of games. It's a lot of fun. I will be there, Sisters. Really encourage you guys to come, especially if you're a newer official. It's a good time to get evaluated and to hone in your skill. I personally think the best place to train and hone in your skill is at a tournament. You're going back to back to back to games, new coaches, new teams, new scores. I mean, everything is just quick, right? So it's a great way to improve your game.
Great job, Devo. Okay. It's a real pleasure to introduce you to two great partners to our game. Today, former OHSLA board member, Coach Brian Wood, who represents the program at Newburgh, and Coach Chris Miller, who also used to be on the bench at Oregon State. These are two gentlemen who are pretty different in their sideline decorum, and I was intentional about that. And one of them is going to be struggle busing bad this year by one of our new points of emphasis, because if Coach Wood has ever found a sideline, it would be the first time he's found a sideline. Brian tends to be right out in the field. Just sometimes you just look over and he's just right here. And I'm like, oh, hi, Coach. Good to see you out here. All jokes aside, Coach Wood and Coach Miller do a great job developing young people. They have both had a lot of experience working with diverse officials. They understand they're very seasoned coaches, so they realize on most crews there's going to be somebody pretty new to officiating, somebody kind of on their way up, and then usually a senior official. And they know how to communicate with all those. And so what I really appreciate about the perspectives they're going to share today is they know how challenging our job is, okay? And as much as they respect us, we in turn have to respect. Think of the hours and hours these coaches pour into their profession. Oregon is not a state that pays incredibly well for coaching staffs, if at all. In fact, I know many varsity coaches that take the compensation they're getting and actually pay their younger assistants so they have people who can assist them. It's a labor of love for them. They're here to share a little bit of their perspective and then really open it up for Q&A. This is a time of great honesty. Let's be vulnerable, share, ask questions that maybe you're uncomfortable. They're both just really open and great guys, or they wouldn't be here. So with that, I'd invite you guys to share a little bit of your perspective of working with officials, things you really enjoy, things you don't, and things you want us to know, and then really open it up for some dialogue. We have the gentleman for about 25 minutes, guys, and know that both of them traveled over 45 minutes to get here today. So awesome having them. And we'll, of course, as association, be getting them a gift card for their time, but really appreciate both of them being here.
Sure. So I'll kick it off. First of all, and for our new officials in the room, thank you. And for everybody else, I really appreciate it. We're trying to grow the sport, and we couldn't do it without each and every one of you. I've been fortunate enough to be coaching for a while now, and so a lot of familiar faces in here, whether it's in Newburgh, away games, tournaments, pretty much as many of you guys were coaching year-round, officiating year-round, so thank you for your time and your dedication. I think I approach, to me it's two-way communication is key, and so starting off greeting the crew as you get out there. Love to see the returning faces, but also the new officials. And, usually it's just, greetings, let you know anything different about this scenario, JV, or if we're going straight into varsity. That's also usually where I watch a lot of games, watch a lot of film, go to a lot of scouting. I'm still learning, and so usually I'll ask you a question. I almost never will throw out there this game or this, just, hey, something I'm trying to figure out, something I've noticed. And so that's just for my own learning. And so that's just kind of like in our check-in meeting. I usually try to advance my own knowledge, advance my own clarity, ask you a question. Sometimes the crew's like, that's a great question, we don't know, we'll get back to you. And I've had emails like the next day, like, hey, we looked into that. Love it. I'm just trying to learn. During the game, the biggest thing for me, and sometimes my volume, it gets everywhere, and it's, is that trailing that official, that sideline official is huge for me, because at that moment, I might say, hey, when you have a second, I have a question. And just for that pause, that is the quickest way to get me following along with your line of thinking. And there's many times I know where it's like, hey, I'll ask that official because they made the call on their side of the field at the next timeout or break. I really, really respect that and love that, and when they come back to me. And as Thomas said, I have no problem. I can go out to you and ask you the question. So as you're that trailer, I'll follow you down there and ask you the questions. So that's okay. I have no problem with that. Apparently, you might throw a flag at me this year. But, I've been known to come to you to make it easier. I'm assigning my assistant coaches as the get back guy this year. I've already texted them after Tom called me last night. I'm like, oh yeah. My assistant coaches all chuckled when I said, what do you think the new point of emphasis might be this year? And they said, coaches on the field. So I think, like I said, the biggest thing for me is, and I realize that whether we're in a 2-man or a 3-man crew, you have way more going on to ensure the safety of our players and the game is going on. When you have that moment to have that quick, just comment to me, even if it's like, coach, I'll get right back to you. That's huge. It makes me feel heard. It continues that relationship, and it calms me down. So that's kind of like the flow of the game. So, Chris?
Yeah, I think for me, just that open two-way conversation going back and forth. I know you guys got a lot going on the field, but also on the sidelines, we've got a lot going on as well. We got players behind us like, Coach, I don't understand what happened there. And I may have been turned around looking at somebody else. And so if I can get that confirmation from you guys of what you guys saw on the field, or another big one that I think I saw a few times last year is like a couple checks that are not landing in the right spot. And you guys warn the players on the field, and then the play goes down and it comes back, and then they get one more that looks pretty ticky-tacky from the sidelines. If you guys give us that warning on your way by, like, hey, I just talked to this player, like, he needs to clean up these checks, or he needs to do X, Y, and Z. So now when that happens, we can be like, hey, look, he already told you on the field that's what was going to happen. you did it again, and they threw the flag. He already gave you your opportunity. But if we don't see that, we don't hear that conversation that's already happened with you guys on the field, which I think you guys are really great about doing on the field. From the sidelines perspective, it's like, out of all the things that have happened tonight, that's the one you're going to throw a flag on. Mm-hmm. So just that open communication, like on your way by, hey, I warned number 0 twice when we were down there. He needs to clean this up. And then when it comes, then we can have that conversation on the sidelines of like, you stepped over the line. Like you came up to the line, they told you were at the line, now you've stepped over. And I think that as we have questions from the sidelines, whether, that it's the near side official on his way down or like, hey, you need to catch up with the trailing official. I've got to follow this play down. Just a little bit, something to let us know that you heard us. You know that we have something that's going on. But your priority is at the beginning and, we need to talk to the trailer. Or as the trailing official, as they're doing their count, like, Coach, I'm counting. Or just a little something to let us know that we've been heard or that you know that there is a question there or something that needs to be attended to. And then just the two-way conversational piece is huge, right? I mean, if you guys have worked my games, I'm in your ear the whole time, asking questions, talking about this, talking about that, asking to look at things, right? And just knowing that you guys are like, yeah, Coach, I heard you. I'll look on the next one. And I've had some officials that come back to me after that conversation, like, hey, watch for it this whole time, and I wasn't seeing what you were seeing. I'm going to keep watching for it, but just so you know, I'm not seeing what you're seeing. And just that little piece of communication is so settling for us on the sidelines of, okay, we've been heard, you've looked for it, you've paid attention to it, and it hasn't necessarily happened or you're not seeing it that same way, I think is huge on the sidelines side of things.
And I'm going to echo one thing in there is letting us know when you do talk to our players. Like a lot of times I'll talk to my players like, hey, listen to the pitch. Like if we're working on, our inside seal game, it's like the ref is going to tell you if you're moving on your pitch. Just listen to them, respect that. If they give you that warning, you have to make sure your feet are planted. So just echoing like, hey, I talked to player 0. He's moving a little too much on his pick, or he's starting to lean his head. Like great, I'll talk to that kid. Or your face-off guy, he's starting to creep forward, so I'm gonna start throwing my whistle and give it a warning to the other team. Great, I'll talk to them. I have a freshman face-off kid this year, and you might say like, hey, you did this, but they come back to me and they're like, I don't know what that means, Coach. I'm just trying to survive against the senior. I don't like the ref. Told me he explained to me, or she explained to me what I did wrong. I don't know what that means. And I realized that the close official is not the one that made that call often. So, you're the one I have the ear of. I'll say, hey, when I have a chance, can you let me know what that face-off kid did? Because I have to be able, or my assistant coach has to be able to coach that player up to make those changes. And I get it that often you quickly in the moment, or you're trying to, and the other coach is telling like, quick reset, quick restart. And I'm trying to tell you like, what did my kid do? But having that moment, like, it could be right before the next face off, so it could be 5 minutes later, but just say, hey, this is what he's lining up in the neutral zone, or I can coach my players so they don't do it again, and so they're learning as well.
Is there any situation to like where you guys would prefer us to go to the captains instead of the coach?
I think, we choose our captains, I hope, for a reason. And if it's on the field, have that conversation with the captain. I would kind of, at some point love to know what that conversation was so I can reinforce it. But, I'm trusting my captains. I'm choosing the ones that, I trust to communicate to you, listen to you, relay that information to me. If it's something big, then hopefully we get that information firsthand from the official as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think definitely on that side, one of the big things, point of emphasis for me last year as a coach was cutting out a lot of our player chatter to you guys. And so, I think that's a huge one, especially in high school, and one that I honestly can't stand. And even though on the field I know I did it, I try. I always tell my players, I get one fun thing to do during games, and that's yell at the officials. Don't take that away from me, right? And if you start yelling at them, then I can't do my job, right? And so I think that if you can, bring it to us just because I know, in my personal situation, I'm trying to keep them away from you guys. And so the more that avenue of communication starts to open up, like I work on respect and all those things, obviously, but I think that the more that avenue starts to open up, other players on the field may see it like, well, coach, he was talking to the ref. He was talking to the ref. So, little things like in the moment, coaching them up, hey, this is what you're doing. Next time I'm gonna throw the flag, right? Like those little conversations I think are great to have come from you guys because they're tired of hearing it come from me. I think that one of the other things, for new officials, and something that I see on the field is having confidence in your calls, even if it might not be the correct one at the time. Have confidence, because when you're at the table and you're saying, I think it was a slash and we're going to put him in for, like, the players pick up on that too. And then they're like, coach, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I'm like, he's who we got, So this is what we got to work with. Like, you got to deal with that, and we got to, play. So have confidence in the calls that you're making, and, if I disagree with it, we'll talk about it. But I think for the overall management of the game and the players on the field, they can see if you're not confident in the calls that you're making. And I think that makes it really hard for them to just focus on the game. They start worrying about the outside things. And so I think that's a huge piece for new people coming in. We greatly appreciate it. We need refs, and you guys are what allow us to have games. So we appreciate you guys, and there's obviously you guys do a lot of training and growing as the season goes on and coming into the season, and we'll work on if something's not correct, but have confidence in the calls you're making on the field in the time.
Right there. First of all, one comment, one question. One comment is when you have a situation where an official calls on the other side and you ask for some communication, and then the next dead ball doesn't really happen. A lot of the time it's because we genuinely forgot. You understand? There might be some other thing, or maybe there's like a big foul we need to come discuss something else. Totally appropriate to remind us, I think, not rude at all. It's like, hey, did you end up talking to that guy about that? And then we'll be like, oh shoot, yeah, let's go do that. So I just want to say that's happened. It's probably happened with me, with you guys. It wasn't because I hate you and I don't want to tell you what happened. It's just that. The second thing is that it always seems to be a point of emphasis every year about equipment and like face paint and stuff. And I'm not saying your teams do this. I'm not saying this at all. But I just want your thoughts on why it still doesn't get followed by players, and you still have players coming out with dangling mouth guards and war paint out the wazoo.
I would say, I'll answer this one from my side is on the face paint, despise it. And, was it 3 years ago, senior night, I guess I haven't put any face paint on like the entire year, 4 years ago, whatever. Senior night, they come out and like half my team has like triangles on their face, the ref's sending them back in. I'm like, that's a senior night? You're killing me. I think they watch, games online. And you're watching all the East Coast, you're watching, all the big, prep schools, and they all paint it up, and so that's where they get it from. No matter how many times I harp our guys, and I would say on that note, if you see my guys out there with more, like, please, be the one that says, sorry, you gotta go wipe that off. I'm gonna support you because I am harping on it. I can't get it. And the mouthpieces,
No thanks.
They have it in their mouth.
No thanks to Stephen Curry, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's they need to wear them. I always need to do a better job of reinforcing that in practice, so it makes it easier. And they should be wearing them in practice. When they're dangling them out, give them a warning and then send them off. What's going to fix it is they're getting sent off the field. Chris, anything on that?
No, I mean, I have players that come up to me before game like, Coach, is eye black all right? Is it too much? And, I'll tell them to go wipe it off. And, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So definitely, if you see that or somebody comes up and you don't like what it's at, give me a heads up, let me know, send them off the field, and we'll get it fixed for sure. The mouth guard is a never-ending battle.
I always tell them if they need to share a mouth guard, they can. But find them on the ground, who's to try it on.
Sounds like just general teenage obstacles, which they unfortunately have not come to here for. Okay, yeah. I say that because that is 100% my least favorite part of officiating is appearance policing.
Yeah.
Elbow pads creeping up. That never happens anymore.
No, never.
Coaches creeping on the field. It's a safe thing.
Yeah.
Okay, quick one for you guys. So I heard you guys say that we're good at communication, right? Collectively as a whole, and could you be specific? What kind of things would you like to see improve in Oregon as far as, is the game, should it be tighter? Should it be called not as tight? Is the pregame too long that you're hearing from us? Is it too short? Is there anything specifically that you could tell us as a whole that could improve? Thanks.
I think pregame is. I think you guys shortened it up a little bit last year. Short, sweet, get through it. That's for most of us. We've all done it hundreds of times. We know what to expect. Time for a question if we need. Time to send guys to you for stick checks or whatever. As far as communication on the field and calls go on the field, I think finding, which is it's a tough ask and it's hard, and I know that, but finding the sweet spot, right, of letting them play, but still within the rules of the game, right? Looking for egregious things versus ticky-tacky things. Controlling the game while not running the game from the officiating side, if that makes sense, right? Keeping players safe, obviously, is number one, but allowing them to also play and understand the game. So many of our kids now are going and playing tournaments all over the U.S., and some of them are going beyond that with some of these world tournaments and things going on now. And so they get to see all different sorts of officiating, and as they start to move east, it kind of starts to lighten up a little bit, and things that they're getting away with. A couple weeks ago at a tournament in New Jersey or whatever, and now they come back here and they're getting called for it. And so I think that's confusing for the kids and hard, and it's important for them to learn that you have to adjust to what's on the field in front of you, but also finding that sweet spot of not every single thing needs to be a penalty. Did it affect the play on the field, right? You had a attackman that was riding hard. His toe went over the 50. But if the ball, if the ball is 10 yards in front of him, did it affect everything?
Are line calls subjective? They're the one call in our game that is not subjective. Line calls are not subjective. You have to get the line call.
Absolutely. Sorry, bad example, Tom. Bad example. I mean, if you don't throw it, I'm yelling at you. So.
And I'm going to be yelling at you. Then I'm going to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, they weren't offsides."
Scott,
and I messed up my count.
Scott Weir had a comment and question, and then Guy.
Real quick, gentlemen. As an official, we've always been told from Tom and Don and our senior officials, there's no secrets in lacrosse. So I want to remind everybody that the 4-minute mark of halftime, if Coach Wood comes to you with a question, you need to make sure, Coach Miller, to the game, bring the other coach in. Don't just have one conversation with the coach. Would you appreciate that, especially in a situation where I think you both should know what the other coach is asking and what they're looking for.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, I think it is. Sometimes I've had the official that says, I've asked a question, and then later they just want to be, hey, we called that offsides or we called this. But bring Chris into that. Especially if we want to talk to you about the flow of the game moving forward, I think it's really important to bring both coaches and to get to Chris's point a second ago, what we want to see more of or less of. It's all, and you guys strive for consistency, and that can change honestly, it changes a little bit over the game. And we tell our guys, they're going to call a little bit tighter. We, been pushing people or hitting, checking too, and we have to respond to that as players and as coaches as well. So it's just, And sometimes if you communicate that, hey guys, we're gonna call the second half a little bit tighter to make sure it's, reined in, or from the JV game to the varsity, this is what we saw. And it's our job to communicate to our players and our assistant coaches also that hey, they're gonna call this a little bit tighter, or we need to be a little bit more careful here, so.
Guys.
So Coach, just like the one game I had with you last year, you answered my question, you made the call for me. But no, I was going to ask you. So there are games that are great games, and the boys are playing hard and firm, and it's good lacrosse. And then the one kid gets a little crazy, and then you got to tighten the game down a little bit. What do you need from us to understand? Do you need to understand why we're doing it? It sounds like you've already addressed it. That will happen, but I always question myself. It's like, okay, we got to tighten this thing down. The boys are getting a little tired. What do you want to hear from us at that point?
I think it's just that is, the number one job here is we're keeping kids safe, and then we're holding true to the sport of the rules of the game, playing lacrosse, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And if it's, and just like you would tell me, like, this player's like, real close, and we've given a couple warnings, great, I need to talk to that player. As a coaches, if it's, we're getting a little chippy, we're getting a little bit of this, then you just need to tell us, or we're gonna tell our players, like, hey, we can't afford to get that next flag because we're not responding to the officials. They clearly given us that heads up, that warning. We need to rein it in a little bit, and so that's on our coaches to be communicating to the players as well. So just giving us a heads up, like, hey, we've given some warnings out there. Like, we're gonna throw the next flag.
Mike, and then Don. Oh, go ahead, Kuda. Did you have a follow-up?
I need several of the questions. Almost every rep in here will give the captains in our pregame with them, hey guys, we look to you guys to be leaders on the field. We expect you guys to take care of the knuckleheads before we have to with what we go and flags. Is that your expectation, or are you sending the knuckleheads out as captains? But seriously, is that also your expectation of your captains? Because I don't see a lot of the captains, and they're teenagers, but we get that.
I mean, in a perfect world, yes, that's our expectation, that they're the leaders of the team, and everybody's going to fall in line behind them. But we're talking about high school boys. It doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah, right. My knucklehead's my in-home.
Yeah, Mike.
So I'm going to kind of give you my scenario of whenever I'm the crew chief, and you tell me what you like, don't like, so I can adjust. So again, I always will tell my pregame, Coach, we may not get you an answer immediately, but we will circle back to you. To your question or your comment about the warnings, I find what happens whenever we do warn out on the field, especially on a JV game, not as much depending on the competitiveness of a varsity game. If I come to you, Coach Miller, and I say, we warned him and then we did it, and then Coach Wood goes, well, you didn't warn my player, you just hit him. So, that's kind of what's going in our head. We have to be very careful on that. And then again, if Coach Wood is letting off steam and understanding that he's just frustrated and letting him talk, do I need to circle back around and get you jacked up, or just let him talk and say, hey coach, let's agree to disagree? And then the final thing would be, obviously a lot of times you're frustrated and the closest guy is going to get it, and he may not be the one that's made that call. Again, I think especially for rookies, I think it's better for a rookie, or if you don't know, we'll get back with you, coach. Because I don't want my crew, I'm not going to tell you something that, number one, I'm not going to BS you. And again, if I make a mistake, I'm going to say, you know what, I screwed up on that. But you don't want to hear that from me 3 times in a night. Right. So what's your feedback on that?
I think that definitely let us know you're going to circle back. And I think,
Is that too much?
Only about 7 minutes ago.
I think that circling back is great, and if there's things that have gone and we're not back on you about it, maybe it's something that you let slide. If it, as far as saying, hey coach, I missed that one, or I made a mistake, that's better to me than not having an answer when I ask for clarification on something, or I don't know, the call was made over there, I didn't see what he saw, let me catch up with him. I think that is great. I think that you guys have all heard that from me, that if you had me on the field, I'll ask you for clarification on something, and if you give me the right clarification, then I'll say, well, I completely disagree with you, but thank you. Because what you saw or why you clarified that makes sense. It may not be the same call that I saw, but so I think having that availability to hear that and be like, all right, well, we disagree, but we're done with it. We're moving on to the next play.
Soren?
Well, what's the worst clarification for you? What's like something that you've heard an official tell you that you're just like, what? What do you mean?
I mean, there's been a few. I can't come anywhere. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
They're pretty reasonable guys. If I was a rookie, there's been a couple notes of the pregame certification. Chris, could I quickly do one with you?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have my two crew members with me. Let's pretend I'm the R on the game. Remember, as the U and the field judge, we're not talking. The R is going to talk. If the R wants to engage with you, he will ask you, or she will ask you. It's not a power thing. It's just how we communicate to coaches, so coaches understand the flow of information. Hey, Coach Miller, thanks for hosting us today. How are you, sir?
Real well yourself.
Great. Coach, you certify all your players legally equipped by rule?
Yes, sir.
Super deal. Who's your speaking captain?
3.
Great. Circle it. You're in home?
4.
Fantastic. Do you have anything for us?
No, we're going to get through. We're going to do a national anthem at 3 minutes on the clock, and then after that's done, we'll be face off.
Great. You worked with us before. Let's just have good communication throughout the game. You need something from us. We're here in servant leadership for you. Let us know. Let's do it respectfully. We're happy to work with your assistants as long as they're respectful. You all good?
Sounds great.
Have a great game, Coach.
Thank you.
Literally. I mean, mine is Mach 10, and at college it's even shorter than that. They have had us a number of times. Now, conversely, Coach Wood, I'm going to certify, and Coach Wood has never had me on a game before. Okay? Hey, Coach Wood, my name's Tom Hoffer. Great to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for being here.
He's going to meet our fellow 2 officials. Hey, Coach, great. Thank you for hosting us today. We haven't worked together yet. Love open communication. Just want to make sure it's respectful all day. Coach, do you have any questions for our crew today?
Nope.
Fantastic. Coach, all your players legally equipped by rule?
Yes, they are.
Fantastic. Who's your speaking captain?
2.
2, and you're in home?
7.
Super. You can send out any captains you want, Coach, but we're going to 2 100% of the time. Want great rapport with us. Let's try and keep the moments down. If there's something big, I'm coming to you 100% of the time. Happy to work with your assistants. If we can watch our sidelines, you know the points of emphasis. Anything you need all day long, let us know. We want this game to go great just like you do. Anything you want me to pass on to the visiting coach?
We have a weird end line. It's through the middle of our letters. It's hard to see, so it's blue on blue. Just give you guys a heads up.
I appreciate that. Coach, I see we've got 36 minutes till game time on the clock. What time should I tell the assistant, the other coach we're going to have an anthem at?
Do anthem at 3 minutes.
Awesome. Okay, Coach, have a great game today. We look forward to serving you. So 2 different approaches, both pretty quick, but what we're doing there is conveying the important information and then getting out of the way. They have a job to do. And every moment we're sitting and conversating with them, what are they not getting to do? Their primary job. And so let's not make the moment about us. Rookies, as your years go on, they're going to get to know you and become much more comfortable with you. Okay? It's just, there's nothing that replaces field time. Any last questions for either Coach Miller or Coach Wood? A couple, yeah. James and then Don.
Just kind of on the certification thing, we're going to show up at the field about 30 minutes before game time. Do you prefer us taking your captains at the 30-minute or closer to the game time?
I'm not going to, James, I really want to bake this in, and I think we've done a great job of this. Let's actually do the right mechanic. We certify at 30 minutes, period. Grab the captains immediately afterwards, and then they have 25 minutes to do whatever they want. We have guys doing, we're going to do it 10 minutes on the clock. Do you know how disruptive that is? That they have to worry when 10 minutes then they're like this, just do it right after the certification and be done. Then they can come ask you whatever, you're available for stick checks, whatever. Get our business done and then allow the time to just go where you want.
Perfect.
Is everybody good with that? Okay, we've been baking that in for years, and I'm hoping we're all doing that. And is ours certify at 30, captains immediately, coin toss, and be done with your business. Don?
Coach, I really appreciate that
Yeah.
model because it's really hard. Like as we get closer and closer, then all of a sudden, like especially if your captain has to be a goal, happens to be a goalie, so it's like then you're pulling right out of the flow. So
Yeah.
that's the best.
Yeah, this is gonna be a compliment at the end.
Must be for Chris.
I was gonna say, we make a lot of 50-50 calls. And we do a lot of different games too, at different levels of team play. And one of the compliments that I appreciate about you, Brian, is that we'll have some rules exchange on the field. And a lot of times you'll walk away going, I disagree with that. But you go right back to coaching. And I can go right back to officiating. But at least that helps me set a level of where we're at in the game. And that's the compliment. I think if more coaches just said, you know, I disagree with that, and get back to coaching, we'll get back to officiating, I think it works out great for everybody because it really does help me set a level as to where the coaches see the game as being, because sometimes my level and their level are not the same, and it really does help.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Even though I wear glasses, I can see every end line face. It's a unique power of mine. I just leave it out there. Really good at decreases. Yeah. Really good at decrees, even though my lines are fading, but I can see it with tenacity. So I apologize.
These guys drove a long way. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Miller and Brian.
Thank you.
See you guys next weekend at the coaches meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. All right. We're on the final stretch here. We're going to bring Mark Monson up next to do our rules discussion, but before we do that, I hinted about a pilot program, and I'm going to give some editorial because, boy, if you would have caught me 2 years ago pitching this, I never would have believed it. I have had the opportunity to be mic'd up twice back east, and it was kind of fun to hear yourself after a game and what you say out on the field. But this is a whole new level, and I know all our football guys are used to this, at least a lot of them. We're going to run a pilot program this year. Our association, out of our budget, purchased, so they're not rented, 3 of these standalone units. What they are is, and for those in football, I get it, you guys all know this, it is an earpiece. You're going to run it through the back of your jersey, and then it has a clip. It's on a dedicated line. Now, let's remember, anybody could go up in the crowd and scan and try and find your line. So we're still very appropriate in what we're saying. I poo-pooed this for years. Until last year when I ran it for the first time up at the Yakima tournament. And I'm like, oh wait, we have got to look at this technology. Neil Ryaning's been trying for years to get us to do this. Chris Davis, Derek, a few others. We're going to run a pilot program. We've got 3, so we're going to put it on certain games, field all 3 guys, to know that it will be delivered to you either before the game or at the field. There's removable earpieces, so you're not going to be like worrying that you're using somebody else's stuff. We're going to have them cleansed and the like, but what it allows is this what's called a constant circuit. There is no push to talk. It mutes until you're speaking. And the best part, whistles are muffled. So it does not pick up on whistles. So you're sitting here, you do a face-off, and you think it's going to screech in your ear from across the field. It's not. What you do, but like you're going to set the field, and let's say Brian's on my wing, and I'm about to do a face-off ball. I set. I'm holding, and I'm looking and waiting, and all Brian's got his arm up, and all he does is point, and he goes, hop, you're good to go. It crossed the field. Don and I, hey Donnie, before you give up your call, let's say Don's single, I'm trail, Blake's on lead, shot in, big hit. Don's single, flag goes, my flag goes. Donnie, before you give up your call, I got one too. And he's like, yeah, I got high, initiated the helmet. What do you have? Yep, 100%. This does not replace us signaling to the field. Okay, we still signal just like normal. But what it allows is a 3-man crew to have private conversations without yelling across the field to each other. But our favorite part of this, you're coming up, you're learning the game. Hey, James, I need you about 4 yards further down. You're too high in the box. Hey, single side. So I'm stretching out. I'm backing out as lead. I need you to come in now as single and cover my crease. It becomes a communication during live ball to talk to each other. And we can use a little bit in training. We're going to try it on some 3-man games. So if you get asked to be on a crew that's using this, we want your feedback, and we're going to be purposeful in asking for your feedback at the end of the game. What did you like? What did you didn't like? Etc. By the way, these are all with these gummy molds. I ran, and now mind I don't run as fast as most of you, but I mean full hop running, never moves, never comes out of your ear. You still have all hearing capabilities. And again, the whistle is muffled. It doesn't pick up on your partner's whistle. So you're going to hear the whistle, let's say on a face-off whistle, if you're single, you're going to hear it just like the whistle. It's over there. It's not in your earpiece. So it's really cool. It's a pilot program. The OHSLA is aware we're trying it out. We're not saying we're moving forward with it. We're going to try it this year on probably, I don't know, Stroh's not here. I think like 9 to 12 games. We're going to try and rotate them through a bunch of veterans and even some of you newer officials to see what you think. And there's a possibility, Washington is in their 2nd year of this, there's a possibility that this might become just like your black jacket. You're going to purchase your own set. We'll have some redundancy and some backups. The fail-safe is if 2 out of the 3 are working, we don't use it. It has to be all 3 crew members using it, or if in a 2-man, both are using it, obviously. Word of caution. They're dedicated frequencies, and it's like 128 different frequencies. But somebody technically could be up there combing, and I don't know why they would do this. But think, you're on Lake Ridge, Westland. You're a nerd dad that just wants to know what's going on. And I kind of like that. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys watch. When I'm watching, I'm not a football official. When I'm watching football, all I'm doing is watching the official. I'm not watching the game. How many of you guys are like that? Other sports, soccer, I'm watching the official. I want to know, I want that insider thing. The cool part about what this is going to allow us to do is if we expand the network, we can bring people to the game itself, a super high level game. Let's say we got Lake Ridge Westland. We got 3 of our experienced officials out there, and we run 7 of these across in the top row, and our up-and-comers get to listen to what we're talking about during the live game event. Wouldn't that be cool to help people learn the game and learn kind of at the highest levels of the game, what are those guys talking about out there? So pretty cool technology. I'm going to invite all of you as members to, if you get asked, it's a huge compliment, and we want your feedback. We're in right now $180 as an association. That's it. We move
$60 a piece.
$60 a thing. Cheap as heck. And by the way, they come with like 10 different ear things and all this crap, and
That's cheaper than your timer.
it's cheaper than your time. They run in the, so we were up in Yakima, Don was with me, Bam and I ran it. Pissing rain, no issues. So, I mean, they're all waterproof, they're grounded circuits, nobody's going to be at risk. They don't fly off. I mean, there's really not much downside with a lot of it. So we're going to try it out. Sound good? Okay, cool. Mr. Monson, this floor is yours, sir.
So, Tommy, I'd like to change my one thing to, if I'm Mike
hyped up on a game, I will not discuss post-game preparations while I'm.
Nick, we don't want everybody to know where you're going drinking beer afterwards.
That's how Stroh talks about on the mic.
Yes, does Stroh talk about anything else during a game?
Yeah, he wants to know. Okay.
I'll run this for you, Mark. You just tell me when you want to change.
Okay.
And I pretty much know where you're heading with this. So.
All right, let's go ahead and get to the next one. All right, so not going to overemphasize this. We talked a little bit about the points of emphasis. These are the points of emphasis. Properly wearing equipment. We've always talked about that. Personal foul, head and neck contact. Again, this is something we've talked about over and over again to channel the instructors I had at Laredo as well as Kevin Hatfield. Throw the damn flag. You see anything, any illegal contact to the head or neck, we've got to kill it. That's the only way that we can disincentivize that type of thing. Sportsmanship role of the coach. I'll talk more about that. Pre-game responsibilities. Again, we'll talk more about that. Next one, please. All right. New. We have now a dedicated coaches area with 2 additional coaches. Go to the next one. Just want to bring this up a little bit more. So if you'll notice, by what they're asking for is this coaches area is 6 yards, extends 6 yards away from the sideline. That should give the coach plenty of room, because what I think often happens is the team crowds up to the sideline with them, which encourages the coach to get out onto the field. This hopefully should prevent that from happening, and this entire area ought to be clean, so the coaches should be able to see the entire field. The team should be right behind. They should keep your substitution box clean. They should also keep your penalty box area clean. And most importantly, one of our team members that sometimes often we unfortunately forget about when it comes to these types of issues are the table. If the teams are crowding up on that sideline, they have a hard time seeing the field and that sort of thing. So this is something that we should address pre-game, make sure it's all right. I can think of a few schools just because of their own dimensions of the field that we're having trouble with. I'm thinking specifically of like Sunset High School, where they've got a really narrow sideline there. We'll try to work out the right things for this, but this is something that we should really focus on to help us make sure that we only have players on the field and no one else. Okay? Questions about this? Again, this will be addressed also in veteran training. We can move on. All right, mouth guards. Mouth guards. They have to be intended to protect the teeth. It can't have something that you could use to attach it to the helmet. Anything else, any other type of embellishment is illegal equipment. For the football officials, this was legal this fall. It is not legal in lacrosse.
Yay.
Right? No binkies. Don't know why they do it. Okay. Horn.
Mark, what
Yes.
about the new rule that clear is okay?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. Yeah, so another rule change. Color of the mouthpiece. Can be all clear, can be all white. In years past, that has not been true. They had to have some, so we can tell what it is.
With
It can't be all
with
clear.
one exception, Invisalign is not considered a legal mouthpiece.
And how do we tell? Are we all becomes dentists?
As Don Huber would say, don't be too good.
Don't trouble.
Okay.
Thank you.
Also, pre-game, make sure that your table has access to be able to sound a horn. If they're going to run the horn from the score, or from the press box, thank you. They've got to be able to actually control that horn from the table, right? So if they don't have that, they need to have another horn.
Mark.
So they can signal.
Mark, they have to have a physical horn now.
They have to have a physical horn.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
That's the point of emphasis. And let me tell you why this matters, guys. Anytime there's a new rule put in, know that it's going to get used by coaches. The purpose of this is to double tap during a dead ball to clarify a rule. Okay? That's the only purpose. And they have to have a physical horn. It cannot be across the stadium where somebody has to push a button. It has to be a physical horn. And the only people that are allowed to access that is the head coach of each team. An assistant can't pop it. Only the head coach, and the table has to be notified that they're going to utilize the horn. We'll go over that next weekend at the all coaches meeting. But anytime there's a rule change, what can we expect? This has not been typical, even though it's been available. Now that it's officially in the rule book, what are we going to see? Coaches are going to utilize it and go, you know what? I actually do want to get a clarification on that. So be aware, this is coming, and it has to have a physical horn, or we can't start the game.
So I watched the annual training online, and that question came up specifically, and they did do a clarification on the training that said the table has to be able to control the horn, so it can be a part of the scoreboard, but they can't radio for it, like you said. But if they can hit on their phone,
We want a physical horn.
okay, that's what I was going to ask. Is that the OLOA interpretation then?
Here's what I'm going to do as a frequent R, Andy. I'm carrying a backup horn in my bag because I'm not letting my flow and the game get hung up by this, and I'm then taking my horn at the end and going home. So those of you who are R's and you know who you are, they're $11, and just grab a mini horn and put it in your bag, and let's prevent a lot of issues. But I do intend to tell them next week that we need a physical horn, not a touch of the thing, because the intent is to get the table personnel out of arguments. Now, if you're hot and the table person is the problem, and you come and I want a double horn, and she's like, no, I actually don't really think I want to give that to you because you're being a jerk, coach. They have to have a physical way to get a hold of us.
Any other questions?
Do they have minutes? One per half, one per game?
The rule book provides no clarification, Brian.
Yikes. So if they don't have one, and we provide it, we just solve the problem. It's not a delay game or anything.
Well, the rule book talks about when they can have a request a double horn. They basically get one free one, just like a stick check.
And then after that,
And then after that, they have to start paying for it with timeouts. That was my question.
we're going to train this at veterans, so don't worry. This is all coming.
Okay, now under U.S. Lacrosse, if you've gotten 3/4 of the way done, you've completed the game. So if there's a game disruption after the third quarter, that can be changed. I haven't heard anything if OHSLA will just adopt this or they have their own interpretation of this. But just bear in mind, if your game does get disrupted for some reason, please be sure to note.
It's in the SOPs, right? Yeah. After the third quarter is completed, if you have lightning or anything, the game is over. And by the way, you will be paid in full. Berger, have we ever not paid you in full? America. Berger woke up.
I'm a stereotype, guys. I love you. All right, next one, please. Okay, now, again, I'll touch on this a little bit. We now have a foul for a player that needs to be repeatedly adjusted at the face-off. Again, I think ours do a good job at the beginning of the game talking to your face-off official, or excuse me, your face-off players, and what you expect of them. And then when you do your fades to get them down, expect that they will be in the right position. You have to repeatedly adjust. This is a way for us to get going faster instead of constantly readjusting players in the face-off position. It's better for everything. This is a great tool that we have for us. Any questions? No?
Yes. I think the radios will help a lot with that because you can, as a crew, you don't have to touch base with each other. You can just say he's leaning in.
No, literally, like, imagine this. We're settled situation. You pop him up, step him up, legal procedure. Don, tell him he's leaning in the neutral zone. He turns his back. The coach is right there. And literally, that is how quick that was.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. It really is.
James, did you have a...
Oh, no, she explained it. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Goals. Any loose ball that crosses the goal line is a goal. A possessed ball that crosses the goal line is not. Right? So if you have a goalie or defensive player for whatever reason is in possession of the ball, meaning he can make a lacrosse move with it, he can dodge, he can pass, he can shoot, he can cradle. Takes it into the goal, across the goal line and out, that's not a goal. But if he drops it while he's back there, That's the goal. Okay? Question pretty clear? Fine.
Is that gonna go to youth as well?
It's always been a rule of youth.
Has it always been that?
Yes.
It's gonna, yeah. Don't know it well.
No,
For a while it was different, but,
Yeah.
yeah, this year they're following high school.
Okay.
Okay. Departure from years past, if you had someone who was not a legally equipped goalie who was in the crease with the intent to block a shot, that was, the first time was a technical foul. Okay? It's now a personal foul for that to happen. The channel, Russell Dean, if this is the crease line, I'm here, not as a legally equipped goalie, I'm safe. If I take a step back, I'm no longer safe. I know it's arbitrary, but that is the line that is drawn. So just remember, if you see it, kill it. We don't want to have that player put in jeopardy, and it's a personal foul now.
So it's not a flag down situation?
It's an immediate whistle.
It's an immediate whistle?
Yeah, again, because it's a safety.
Okay, great.
No. No. Just a personal foul. Before.
No, it's illegal equipment, it is full-time.
Yeah, I don't think it's not.
Oh, you're right.
Because it's under the illegal equipment, so that makes it full-time.
That wasn't a gotcha, it just wasn't up there.
You're right. Okay.
This is great. By the way, finally, this rule we should all be applauding for.
All right. So now, if a goalie is outside of the crease and we have a restart, no longer has 5 seconds to get back.
So the goalie chases.
Why?
And they come in, you immediately restart.
Correct, with one exception. In that dead ball interval, if you see that the goalie is missing equipment or has broken equipment, you're not going to restart the ball until you have a properly equipped goalie. Otherwise, you're going to do the proper restart. Make sure you do everything you have for a restart. You have a stationary player in possession.
Look at the goalie in the back of the room. I'm watching Roner and Hamburger are both like, damn it.
No, I love this, but
Ross too.
Stationary feet's gonna be key. Otherwise guys are gonna like try a quick restart running onto the field. And so
Just tell them stop start.
No hair on fire restart.
Yeah.
But that's going to be one of those things where it's like even when the goalie's not there, we're going to have to be super clean and consistent, stationary feet. Because I think sometimes we do let a little jog go when it's not of consequence. But I love this. I mean, it's huge against goalies, but I still love it as a goalie. It doesn't bother me at all.
This is just another example, you guys, of the college rules filtering down. We do this every 3 years. College rule changes. For 2 years, NFHS stays the same, and then it becomes a high school rule. They started at the college level, and then it comes down.
So in the college level, have you had smart enough goalies to move the cage to set up time for their defenders to get back?
And what would that be called in our game?
Well, you know, I was a fat guy, man. I was moving like, oh,
That would be flag down, delay of game, 30-second technical, and who serves that penalty? Excuse me? That's what I think you meant to answer, yes.
So one thing I could see happening with this as a goalie, like if I was on a run out with someone and I dove, I'm flicking my glove off. Like 100%.
And then what would you have there?
It just depends on if the official catches it. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's be good then.
Gloves, you go to the ground, equipment comes off all the time, right? We see those, like gloves come off, those kind of things. So if I'm running out and I dive, I'm going to try and lose a glove in that process as I'm getting out.
Okay, you're thinking men's club right now, I think.
I'm just thinking competitive. I'm a competitor. Like that's.
Okay. If we have teams starting to do that, I can't wait to see the video. But let's be good about it.
Yeah.
If you think it's deliberate, then that's a delay of game call. Same with moving the cage, delay of game. I don't know that you're going to see a lot of that, Andy. I'll be really honest. What the intent is to actually have the goalies not doing runouts.
Yeah, right.
just to make sure, so a goalie in the crease breaks equipment, instant whistle, safety.
Correct.
The goalie outside the crease is a defensive player, and the play continues until.
100%.
Field play.
Field player.
Yeah.
So that,
Any other questions about this? Again, we will discuss this more at, during veterans. We need to. All right, next. All right, again, clarification, the definition of holding has not changed. It's still impeding a player or the player's cross. It's still the definition. They just added these specific terms to the rule. The hook, lift, and pin, okay? And again, during the personal foul section of our veteran training, we will go into this and show a little bit more video. If you go to the next one, I think this will work. This is some video. This is a quick video showing the crowbar. Is it not going to work?
No. Doesn't appear it's
I guess I did it wrong. Okay, sorry.
But we're going to have training on
We're
this.
going to
So.
training on there's great video that I learned a lot from, and sorry.
The thing to know about the crowbar, that's what they're really focused on. It is a very solid defensive play until it's not. And so there's a nuance of understanding what's occurring and the balance of, is that clean, or are they literally holding that offensive player from moving forward and advancing the ball?
We'll talk more about that. All right, loss of helmet. If you lose your helmet, that's a foul. Right? Losing your helmet is a foul. It's a technical foul for losing your helmet. The exception to that, whether or not you serve a penalty for that, is whether or not you lost the helmet because you were fouled. Similar to other sports that have helmets, okay? Regardless, whichever player loses the helmet, they're going to sit for a play, which is 2 whistles, the start whistle and then the following whistle, right? The question is whether or not they're actually going to serve a penalty for having lost their helmet during the game. Questions about that? I think it's a great clarification. All right, next.
Yeah, my question would just be, it's not necessarily that the player was fouled, it was the player was fouled to the head would be the exception. If it's just a cross-check, it's a cross-check penalty, and it's a penalty on the player who lost the helmet.
I would suggest there's nuances to this. Damon, here's a great example where that is not the case. If a player cross-checks a player with such force that it sends the player back and they hit the ground and the helmet comes off, how is that the effect of the player who got hit? What we want, the nuance is, if the helmet came off during a personal foul, that we're going to give them the benefit that the personal foul caused the helmet to come off. Player gets tripped, takes 2 steps and falls and the helmet comes off, that didn't have anything to do with the trip. So they've proven, and remember the video from 2 years ago, they showed a dummy that if it's properly equipped with all 4 attach points, it will literally rip the head off of a dummy before the helmet will give way. So understand, where the helmet is coming off is when the chin strap is pulled up an inch or 2. That's the time that it will pop off. If it is properly installed, you will have a neck injury on the field before the helmet will come off.
Next one, please. This is just, again, the same thing that we just discussed. All right. Ball location for restarts. I always thought this was the rule, but if you have a foul that occurs in the attack area, when we restart the ball, it's going to be outside of the attack area in the alleys. Okay. The only time that if you go to the next slide, just to show, the only time that you would actually do a restart in the attack area, right, is if you have a shot that goes out of bounds and being rewarded or awarded back to the offensive team. They're going to start roughly where the ball went out on that end line. But if we ever have a foul, we're starting outside of that.
One more also, timeouts.
Oh, timeouts, yes.
If they were beneath GLE when the timeout was called.
Correct. Okay, no questions about that? Excellent. Please look at this stuff. There's a new signal for a contact head neck area. So use that signal. And this next one talks about if a goal is not allowed if a player jumps without possession, catches the pass, shoots, and lands in the crease. kind of going up on their own volition to just another expansion of that whole idea of the dive shop.
What is if you give this signal on the field, know that we're starting at what minute? Great job, veterans. This call starts at 2 minutes.
Okay, simultaneous calls, we're going to cover, we're going to have a whole section on this, so we can go on to the next one. Go on to the next one. Questions about new rules? Thank you.
Great job, Mark.
Okay, so veterans training. A lot of discussion amongst the board this year about the veterans training and really building the veterans training going forward that can be repeatable. It's going to get recorded. Michael's going to do an awesome job doing that for us. But we also talked a lot about consistency. We got feedback from coaches. We discussed it amongst the board. And one of the things that we would like to strive for as an association is that we are officiating the games more consistently. Okay? So we're going to cover a lot of content in the training sessions this year that are going to be, maybe in some of your minds, especially the veterans, kind of like, why are we covering this? Well, we're setting a baseline this year. We're going to cover a lot of topics. We'll cover them for 10 or 15 minutes. We'll have a little dialogue, a little Q&A, a little veteran discussion, storytelling. But the key thing here is that we're trying to build a baseline of this is how we're going to do games going forward. Okay, and I think we've heard it from the coaches that not only in terms of verbal communication and dialogue consistency, they'd also like this to be consistent across the board on the field. So we've decided to break the 3 trainings into themes. The first training, and I would like all of you to come to your trainings with the rule book in your hand, questions that are going to pertain to pregame, as well as things that might be, we're going to cover some things that might happen typically in the first quarter. What happens in the first quarter? We're going to do a training on face-off. Each of the roles of the officials, things that we're going to be looking for during the face-off, positioning on the field, particularly for the face-off official as well as the helper. We're going to build some consistency, some standards that obviously every game will be a little bit different, but we'd like it so that not only do we have these mechanics that we live by, but we're going to have a standard now off of these trainings to help us through the through each phase of the game. Next one.
So this is week 1.
Week 1. Week 2 will be the second quarter. A little bit more complexity here, like simultaneous fouls and stacking. We'll get into personal fouls because by the second quarter, we're starting to have personal fouls in the game, so it's a good time to talk about that. We're going to talk about halftime. What should be happening at halftime, right? The officials have a chance to rehydrate, maybe grab a banana or something, but there's also that 4-minute whistle or horn for the discussion with the coaches. We want some best practices about that, but we want to be sure we're covering what's important, that everybody's doing it the same way, and then we're going to get into concussion certification, maybe even more around some tactics to use in dialogue with coaches. And then lastly, the last week will be kind of the third quarter through the end of the game. And we'll cover these topics here, but certainly there'll be some games that are blowouts. How do you handle those kinds of games versus games that are really tight? Games that you as a crew during a timeout are like, okay, this is likely going to go into overtime. Okay, I'm the R, this is what I'm going to be doing. You got to get your captain, you got to get your captain. You discuss all those kinds of things. We'll set some standard there so that when you actually are in it that day, you'll be ready for it. And we're also going to take a little bit of time and talk a little bit more about 8v8 so that we're prepared for it when we get those scheduled for us.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
We also heard sixes as a possibility. Will we cover that?
Yeah, we're going to do a specific training on both.
Yeah.
So 8v8 is the exact same game as 10v10. So is 6x6. It's different from the game that we play at the sixes level, though. As Coach Harris mentioned, we're going to call it like a field game. So it isn't going to be the only difference will be the shot clock reset off of a goalie. But instead, if it goes out, it is going to be man closest to the ball, including behind. So it's like just a little bit of programming, but we'll train on it and we'll have a video on it. I don't want us to overthink it. It is the field game. Detached from what we did over in December at the sixes tournament, the true sixes, the league has chosen to not run it that way. They want to run it the normal format, just at a reduced amount of man. So the biggest thing, what we got to program is offsides. 2 instead of 1. I mean, you're really having to reverse it. So, but I think it'll be healthy for us, and we'll grab it. We're pretty quick to adapt.
So the big thing I'd like to I'm sorry, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things in the Sixers tournament that we had this summer that was never really clarified about the shot clock is what happens if the ball goes out of bounds. Black has the ball goes out of bounds. For whatever reason, black gets it back. What do we do with the shot clock? I don't want it to be decided here. I want somebody to pay attention to it for our training.
Okay.
Good point.
Thank you.
So a big thing about the training, it's not to come and sit for 2 hours and look at PowerPoint slides. Yes, there'll be PowerPoint slides, lots of them. But you come to have a dialogue, come prepared, thinking about, okay, this is the second meeting. We're gonna cover, the second quarter and halftime. These are the things that are gonna be happening. You'll be receiving an agenda via the OLOA email system saying, hey, trainings this week is the second session. This is what we're going to cover. So come prepared to engage. That's really what we're looking for. It's going to be recorded, and we really would like everybody to really be involved, because I think all of your sharing and everything will be truly helpful for all of us to get better. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Tom. All right. Mr. Verding, Mr. Nguyen, come on up. Mr. White and Mr. Shun, come on up, gentlemen. So there's a lot of new officials in this room, and these 4 individuals have all been really identified for really coming up in the system. Kyle's certainly the most veteran out of these officials, but Brandon kind of just a little bit less, Jack just a little bit less, and then Dan entering his 3rd year. What I'd like you guys to share is, first of all, what you would have wanted to know if you're them. So think about that. And then really any information you want to share with the group and perspectives as you have now developed and you're a few years into your career. What are some things you'd like to share with the group that you're thinking about as you head into the season? So let's start with, what would you have wanted to know as a rookie that you guys wish to pass on? And maybe, Kyle, may we start with you, sir?
Yeah, sounds good. Hi, Kyle Verding. Yeah, I think for me, this is learning just in reflection about being on the field and kind of my career, but then also something I've learned in my professional life. I do like emergency management stuff with public agencies certain times, and I heard this from a sergeant with the police department. We were talking about, when you have like a major event, you need to get people all kind of back together, and you have these big responses by, multiple public agencies. His advice, he looks right at me and he goes, you control the timeline. Like, we are the ones in charge. And so I think about officiating. Yeah, there is that sense of urgency in wanting to respond to the coaches. There is that sense of urgency in getting that quick restart, right? But as we heard from the coaches, our number 1 responsibility is safety, and number 2 is fair application of the rules, right? And so it's our responsibility to take that moment to go, hey, we control the timeline. Coach, we'll get to that in a second. We want to make sure we're good, and I will circle back with you, right? But just keeping that in our mind that, like, yeah, there is a sense of urgency, and it's just as important, if not slightly more so, to take that beat to make sure we get it right. Because being right and equitable and fair is what we need to remember to do.
That's good. I want to echo that in a sense, because when I was a rookie, one of the things that I didn't utilize as much as I think I should have is, things like inadvertent whistles, inadvertent flags, being able to be confident to make that, to say, hey, I made a mistake, inadvertent whistle, I want to get the game right, and just kind of slow down and make and re-emphasize to the coach, I may be wrong, and I'm going to do an inadvertent whistle. I apologize, coach, right? And it's okay because we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to always, get the game going or get make the call in a way where we have to sell it or whatever, right? But realistically, at the end of the day, what the coach really wants, as a coach myself and as a former player, is I'd rather get the call right and you admitting your mistake before, rather than moving forward with something wrong and it completely moves the game off its track than where it was originally going.
Yeah, I actually, my very first game, I was with Shane over at Forest Grove JV, and I had an inadvertent whistle in the first 5 minutes. And I'm on the far side, I blow my whistle, everyone looks at me, and I'm just, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. I don't even know what to do. And then Shane was gracefully, kind of a mentor, he was like, was that an inadvertent? Inadvertent, let's just keep going. So he kind of took over for me. I was deer in the headlights, what did I just blow the whistle for? I don't even know why I did the whistle. In my mouth, a sound came out, So yeah, you're gonna make mistakes. Obviously, lean on the people that are going to put you on a good crew, someone who's got lots of experience. Really pick their ear. My first year, after every game, I feel like I was messaging Hoff or messaging the R that I was on the game, asking about certain situations. Did we handle that right? Yeah, just know you're going to make mistakes, and then know a lot's going to be happening. I played, for 15 years or whatever, I thought I knew the game, and then you step out of the game playing sphere, and you're in the officiating sphere, and yeah, you're in there, but so much small things are going on that you didn't even realize when you were a player, off-ball things you don't really see, and it's just really knowing that a lot's going to be going on, you're going to make mistakes, and just go with it, throw yourself in, and try and get better. No egos, that's another big thing. Try not to have a big ego. You're going to make mistakes, ask for advice, get better. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing I wish I knew was there's no big timing with anybody here. If you're humble enough to ask for help, which I feel like I was decent enough at doing that. This is not a group that's going to be oh, you idiot. What do you mean, man? We're all one team. I know it's said over and over, we are a team. We want everyone to perform at their best. I've never once felt belittled, stupid, just coming asking for help. So be willing to let your ego step aside. Okay, man, I have no idea what happened, and I feel like that sucked. Let's work through it. No one's going to make you feel bad about that. So you can step aside, just help. You're going to be met with a lot of grace and a lot of help. So,
Jack, have you ever reffed a stroke?
Unfortunately.
First stroke of the game.
Let's start with Jack. Jack, now that you're kind of weaving your way through your career and really come up and as a real bright light, what are some a nugget or two you'd like to share with the group that has been important in your learning process?
I'd say communication between the crew is key. There was one game in particular sticking out of my mind. Me and Dave Christensen were on one page, and another guy was not, and that led to a whole wave of issues, including an ejection after the game. It was just the communication was so off. Over communication is better than not talking at all, because I crapped the bed on that one because I was the R, and it's just be able to openly talk with each other and have tough conversations in those moments. I'd say so open communication. The second one, just have fun. This is a great time. You get paid pretty decent money to do this. Enjoy your time out there. Don't let it stress you out too much. I do this as a stressor, oddly enough, for my job. Have a good time. If you're going to get yelled at, if you're getting booed in Oregon City, it's that's actually kind of cool, in my opinion. So, have a good time doing it.
Yeah, you always want to have a good time doing it. Thing that the way that I got better was just to watch. I watch lacrosse all the time, and I like to try and watch the highest level that I can. And kind of like Tom said, when he watches, the NFL, like I watch the game, but he said he watches the officials. So like now that I've started becoming an official, when I watch college lacrosse games, I watch the officials now for mechanics, for positioning, for just kind of situationally, like where they are, depending on what's happening. And that's really helped me improve my game. That's what I would say. Watch lacrosse. Just, yeah.
For me, I think being a part of this association is probably one of the funnest and the most coaching opportunity for amongst us. Kyle was my mentor. I remember, first couple of years there was several weird situations, and I was glad that one, you were there, and two, we talked about it right after. But not on top of that, but like amongst each other, right? Like, I mean, I've played against Andy for years. He knows a bunch of goalie stuff. And I know I can go to, or Kyle Hamburger, I know I can go to them for like, right? Or, like there's just.
Go to Andy.
One of the things that really helped is the open dialogue before and especially during, right? I had a couple times where Tom's like, Brandon, you gotta move down a little bit, right? And it's just a very subtle this, right? And we all have no egos, and it's just, the ability for everyone to coach each other and to go to each other has really improved my game. So I highly encourage going after, before, during, and after, just going to each other and just talk lacrosse. That has really improved my game, my rules knowledge, my places of positioning and things like that. And it got me to really understand the game where I can now bring that to the students themselves, because that also helps them get better at their game as well.
I think for me, I mean, it's already been touched on a little bit, but I think kind of being a student all the time would be the thing that I try to focus on the most. I think, as you get into kind of higher level games and you're like feeling really confident in your own skill set, it's really easy to develop a case of the I got it and be like, yeah, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. I think it's really important to continue to be a student of the game and check your own ego and, utilize the resources that we have. And, there are guys in this room that, I have literally grown up in front of, and they have been involved in, my entire lacrosse life.
Same.
And it's over 20 years. So there are guys in this room with a ton of experience, and that doesn't mean it's not necessarily years or number of games either, right? You can be a really experienced official after one game. It might just be one part of the game you're real experienced in, but you're a good resource even after that. So I think sharing that knowledge, dropping your ego, being open to learning, being open to feedback, those are kind of the big pieces that I continue to focus on.
Four studs in front of you are up and comers. Birding. These are very special officials. I've worked a lot of games with these guys and have a lot of confidence, and our board does too. What questions would you have for any of the four? You can either ask it to the whole panel or to an individual. Yeah, Soren.
What's the best way for you to decompress after a game? Sometimes after games, I'm so sore I barely even walk.
Very nice.
It's like you want the kosher answer.
That's a very interesting question, because I just go home and I sleep, right? So I think everyone decompresses very differently, right? It does help that we all do get some, I don't know if everyone does, but there is the opportunity to meet with each other after, whether it's at a watering hole or a restaurant or whatever it may be. But I think for me personally, once I'm done, I usually forget the game and I don't talk about it unless I get a phone call from Tom or Don or whoever and they need to clarify something, right? But normally, right, I just go, okay, great game, forget about it, on to the next one. But that's just my philosophy.
Any others?
Yes, I was just gonna say, as the old guy, I ice on the way home. I don't wait till I get home.
I have a full knee replacement. I have the exact same surgery Neil Reinen went through coming up in June. Last year I made a big purchase and it was a tax write-off for me. I purchased the whole set that you put your legs into and you zip it up. I know some of you, I let you use it over at one of the tournament, the Oregon Lacrosse Classic. It was $750, which is a huge investment. It's a cooling system that compresses around legs, I'm gonna tell you, game changer, if you're into it. And remember, you hold your receipt, and that is actually taken off as a tax deduction because you're investing in your health as an official on the field. Any other decompression things that come to mind, guys?
Pint a shot of fireballs.
Let's remember, we also have guys at different stages of the game. Some guys are going through sobriety. Some guys are going through different parts. So going to the bar isn't always what we should do. And actually, it's really mature. I see a bunch of our guys, drinking isn't as popular anymore. And I see a bunch of our guys just going and hanging out.
Right.
Or maybe they are slipping an edible or something we don't know about, whatever. But however it is, respect where those guys are at in their professional careers and the choices they're making in their lives.
So gentlemen, you've done many high school games, but you've also done probably way more tournament games. And you do every age group from 3-4 up to high school. What would you say for the first year officials when you're doing the difference between high school and tournaments? What has really stood out to you guys in your career?
Let's start with Jack.
Sally immediately comes to mind, because you can be doing a lot of JV games, which is just like what we're doing before a varsity game. It's a lot more fast paced, and then you go right to a 3-4 game. Sometimes you can be like, damn, this sucks. Like, this but then on the other hand, you're like, just take a little break. Those kids don't know what they're really doing out there. They're herding cats. I mean, they're fun to be around. So just take that moment of levity. Take a moment, hang out with them, have a good time, and then you can go back into the crapshoot of this is the world championship at Sisters, Oregon, and everybody's screaming their heads off. So just enjoy every stage for what it's worth, I'd say.
Yeah, different tournaments are obviously, I think, the greatest asset we have to get better because of the fact that you're able to just bust through so many games and you're able to see different levels of competition, like within 30, 40 minutes of each other. Like you were saying, you'll be doing a 3-4 game and all of a sudden you're on a high school elite game and you've got like guys that are doing D1 and you have to switch mentally and it's a different level within 5 minutes of stepping onto the field. I personally usually am a little bit looser at tournaments because they are supposed to be the better players. They're going on, they're trying out for club teams, they're paying thousands of dollars, they're usually like recruiting events, so they're usually higher quality players, so I kind of swallow my whistle a little more at those tournaments. That's just me personally. But yeah, tournaments I think are the best way to get better. Obviously I love high school games, but just the more you're able to do, the better you're able to get.
Yeah, I think tournaments are and various different of invitationals. They're like a big stress test for you, and but stress test in a good way, right? You work on your mechanics, you work on your communication. It's just a lot of things to continually improve. And then at the end of the day, it's just super fun. You just go out there, you hang out with a bunch of the people that you've known throughout the whole entire school year, and then maybe some teams that you've officiated before. And it's just, and they know you, they trust you, and it's a good time, honestly. I think it's just super fun.
Yeah, I think these guys have touched on a lot of the good stuff. I think for me, the mental component is a really big piece. I think for me, like a tournament, we know what weekends they are, right? They're already up there. And so I know when I'm driving to that tournament, it's like, all right, I'm locked in for 48 hours. I am going to abuse my body. I'm going to come home feeling awful, and I'm going to get a nice paycheck out of it,
Yeah.
right? And I know it's that window. The high school season is months, right? And you're doing games. And so you get into that, it's May, and you're like, oh, man, like, I don't want to do this JV varsity doubleheader. The piece that I try to remember is, as a former player, as a former coach, that game is the highlight of your week, even though it might be just another Tuesday night in my season for me. So I think in the high school season, really important to remember why we're there, and it's for the kids.
That's great. Real quick. Yep, we'll go Blake and then Brian.
Okay, so for newer officials, something that I noticed when I was coming up is if you're the youngest guy on the field, sometimes coaches will single you out. They'll know that there's a lack of security in who you are out on the field. So how do you guys deal with that? What do you do if you feel like a coach is really being difficult, and how do you cope for the newer guys?
I think there's two parts to that answer. First part, from an individual perspective, it's just communicating as a crew, right? It's, every opportunity we have, there's a dead ball. I'm going to come together with, the crew and be like, all right, man, this coach was just teeing off on me. I told him we're done. So the next time there's anything, we're banging it, right? So it's that communication together as a group is a huge piece. I also think, as one of the guys up here, as an R, it's also your responsibility to take care of your crew. So if I'm single side and I'm hearing a coach just barking the whole time, the next opportunity I have to get over there, I'm going, coach, I hear what you're doing. I understand it. We need to have some cordial conversation. If you've got a concern, please come to me right now. Right? It's my responsibility to take care of the crew so that we can take care of the players.
Great answer.
Brian. So guys, I think I've done this with all of you over the years, but for the new guys, what's your guys' experience with the post-game, post-mortem with your R and your more experienced reps? We misapplied this rule, or can you explain? So, talk a little bit about that.
Well, I personally, this is going to my third year. I still heavily lean on the R to kind of give me feedback. Even if I think I did something right in the game, I'll kind of ask for clarification and be like, hey, did I do this right? I'm kind of looking for validation that what I think I'm doing is correct in the eyes of my crew. So I obviously like to talk and give a nice big breakdown. A lot of times I'll try and mentally kind of mark things during the game that I want to ask the R afterwards. So I kind of just close the loop and just make sure that even if I do make a mistake, I have it clarified, I know why, I know how I can get better and not make that mistake going forward.
Jack, Brando, anything to add, or we good?
I think Dan kind of nailed that. I do by half, so first half, it's I don't know if that was what I was supposed to be doing. Follow through with whoever it is you're working with before. It's what do you gauge on that? Was I in the right? And sometimes we're no, what are you doing, man? Come on. Or other times we're no, you were on it. And then when we're walking in the car, that's the other time. So I think just picking some of those key moments in your own mind and being humble enough to follow through on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are some stud officials. As Derek Scroggin comes to talk about mentorship's a key theme that you're going to hear. Know if you're a rookie, we're going to assign you with a mentor. And one of the hardest things in life, and I don't really speak it from experience, but it is a reality within this association. There's a very high likelihood that you're going to be paired with somebody probably younger than you. And it's hard, our ego gets involved there, wow, I'm getting paired with somebody who's maybe 20 years younger with me. But remember, we're pairing you with somebody with a lot of field experience. So please, if you find yourself questioning why, hey, I'm being paired with somebody that I'm 10 years his senior, we're very intentional. There are great young officials coming up, so don't let age trip you up. Derek, mentorship.
Yeah, like that said, that's been a theme of our meeting today, is that mentorship. And if we all think back to when we started, we all had great mentors growing up. And so that's what we're asking for today, is we need some mentors. Mark and James had our first year officials up here, and we had 5 or 6 people. So we're looking for some mentors to pair with our first year officials. And it's not a big time ask. It's just, we want to pair people up, and it's, we've had a big information dump today, and so, they're going to be drinking out of a fire hose, and so it's just, a phone call here and there. We'll probably help ask, Dawn and our assigners maybe to be assigned with them every once in a while, do a game with them, but they've had a lot of stuff thrown at them today. They're learning terms like stro. They're going to have no idea what that is.
You got strode. Strode's the only last name that's a verb.
Yeah. It's short sleeve, long sleeve, pants, shorts, where to park. It's all those kind of things. Those are things you can go over with your mentor on the phone. Out here, we're going to have veterans trainings coming up, and then when we get into games, it's a person, a friendly face to talk to on the phone. So if you're interested in being a mentor, you can contact myself or Mark Monson, and we'll work on getting you aligned with one of our first-year people. All right? We need some people. It's a great way to give back, and it's not a huge time commitment, but it's utterly important that we get that going. So thank you.
You're changing lives as a mentor. I mean, you guys, I can't tell you how close Brian Platts and Don Huber have meant to my personal life just because they invested in me when I was coming into this ecosystem. Roner calls me all the time, and he likes to argue. And like,
I see clarification. If I'm still asking questions, I don't understand.
I couldn't have illustrated that point any better. The great part about working with somebody on the come up is you're hearing what people are thinking about. And then we as veterans share that with you. Hey, Andy asked me a really interesting scenario. What if this happened? And then we start spreading it, and then we address it as a group. And that's one of the great things that Tom Carney's pioneered, and that's really our newsletter. And we're going to take on those topics and talk about them as an association. Okay, we're going to skip some slides because we have some major makeup to go. Scott and Nick, 3 minutes on OYL. I apologize for cutting.
It'll be really quick. So last year, Scott and I and several of the rest of you in this room were able to train approximately 120 junior officials in the state of Oregon.
Nice work, guys.
Which is a great number for numbers, but unfortunately, a lot of those kids didn't get a lot of games. But we're still working. We still are anticipating a lot of kids out this year. The training starts. It actually starts next weekend in Ashland. But what I'm asking for you guys is to get some help in a couple of different aspects. One is field training. We've gone from virtually no field training to getting the kids on the field one game, which is not nearly enough, with an adult official. And that's going to be happening in March and possibly early April. And then the other thing that we need help with, the other thing that I'm going to ask people to do is to step up and actually work some youth games. I'm finally getting to the point where we can actually get some adult officials on the field to help mentor these kids, either on the field or at the table, giving them constant feedback. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get like 20 or 20 plus games this year where we actually have adults on the field helping these kids out. Pay's not great. It's $50 a game this year, but it's not real hard duty, but it's a really important thing for these kids to have adult leadership on the field. So I'm going to send out a form for people to indicate their interest in those different aspects of training. Scott, you have?
Real quick, every year before the season starts, Dawn will have a few games where they have a scrimmage. Sunset's having a scrimmage, so they'll bring out the rookie officials or some of the first years, get a chance to get a step on the field before it really matters. To the younger officials, or if you want to mentor, I cannot tell you there's not a better way to a resource when you're on the field talking to a high school kid, building a relationship, and explaining, and then you're like, oh, wait, and all those things that click, you get started, you get fresh, and it's just a great way to start your season. And then, like I said, you build some wonderful relationships with not only coaches, but high school players that you're going to officiate as a high school official.
You want to know the quickest way to learn rules? Teach them.
Yep, absolutely.
Without these two, we'd be in a world of hurt. And
several other people.
And several other, but I think back to Fritz, Ross Lancaster, Tim Rossi, myself. I mean, this is how I got involved, is Nick asked me to get involved with the youth side. And so if you're sitting there and go, hey, Hoff, how can I work my way up in the association and really start to take on some bigger games and get some more responsibility? Wonderful starting place right here, going and training young people to be officials. Scott and Nick, we couldn't do this without you. Great job, guys. We're going to skip a topic that Don was going to talk about. Just we're recruiting year round, and if you guys bring in an official and they complete the full season and a minimum of 10 games, you get a $100 check back from the association. Good takeaway there. Brian,
Okie dokie.
you want me to use the?
Please just log in
Yep,
as you.
I'm already. Yep, we're good.
Yep. This is just about the website for new officials. Please, it's an issue every single year. Submit your W-9. So the treasurer who writes the checks, he'll write your check, but he will not mail it until there's a W-9 on file with him. So just take care of it now. The link to the W-9 is on the website, and Joe Alexander, the treasurer's email is also on the website. So log in as you, please. That's where so there's a public officials page where there's lots of links, but then what I want to go through is the logged in and switch. Yep. Okay, so you got to have your information updated. The address here is the address where your check goes. Sort of important, right? Phone number, obviously. Then this is set up your blocks, right? Super important for assigners. The blocks it's just like Arbiter. Anyone that uses Arbiter, in fact, I sort of copied Arbiter. So, so set up your blocks, please, as soon as you know. This is also where you approve your schedule, so you can accept or decline games.
I'm just showing how you'd set up a block.
Okay.
So if you now go to look at my calendar on March, it didn't take, probably because it's not coded yet. Oh, I did January? Perfect. I'm blocked from the 5th, whatever. Anyways, Brian, we can go.
Yeah. This is also where you accept and decline games. It's not open until all the signers, all games are in. So where are we at right now? Coaches input games, what we call into the scratch table. And coaches have access to add another one, change it, change the time, change the team, all that. They get from January 3rd to February 20th to play with that whole thing. February 20th, it closes off. We sort of clean up some things. We look for duplicates. And then it's given to the assigners. The assigners are Don Huber, Tom Hofford, Tom Johnson, and they assign for the state. And then they do their work, and then when they say, okay, open up the door, then we announce to you guys, okay, you can now go in and accept your games. The very beginning of the season, it's a little close. It's definitely 1 week. We try and do 2 weeks notice, but at the beginning, that first week is a little tight, but the rest of the season is great. This is where you can see your schedule once you've approved it. You can also, this is sort of new, look at your previous last year's schedule. We added that.
The best laid plans. Oh, Platzer!
Man, I saw mine this morning. I'll fix that. So, this is, I always print this at the beginning of the year, the active list of officials. Just print it, throw it in your bag at the beginning of the season. I do it for the coaches too, at least varsity. I'll throw that inside my bag just in case you're running late, just in case you need to contact your partners. Just print it at the beginning of the season and chuck it in your gear bag. Okay. I'm trying to go quick.
You're doing great, Brian.
Okay. That's a game count thing, not a totally big thing. This rate your crew. So once you've done some games, you'll see rate your crew, and it's a good way of sort of giving back. Do I do 100% of my games? No, but I try and do 8 out of 10. Rate the crew, and it's can be constructive, super positive. So I think it helps out. So I think it's a great way of.
And Brian, who's the safety zone there? So what you need to understand, your comments are safe. This is not your time to go give everybody ones and torch a bunch of guys. what we are looking for, there's only 3 people who see Rate the Cruise, okay? And none of them are coaches, okay? Brian sees it, I see it, Don sees it. That's it, okay? So you're like worried that, oh man, I had something really bad happen and I'm really off kilter with this official. I needed to report it, but I'm worried that if I send it in, suddenly he's going to know I said this. The only people that see Rate the Crew is him, me, and him. That's it. So your assigner, Tom Johnson in the High Desert, doesn't see that. We communicate with Tom if we have an issue, but it's meant to be a safe place. But what we're not looking for is a bunch of negativity towards crew members. We want to see real issues. And by the way, we also want to hear when guys are killing it, right? God, great working with. Scotty Weir was great to work with tonight. Great communication. So give us that feedback. But I'm going to caution, there have been some bad actors in the past where every time they log on, I'm reading 2s and 3s. At some point, it's not possible that every crew they were on was crappy. So I'm actually calling the person going, am I reading this right? That you literally haven't had a good crew all summer or all year? So let's be wise about it.
There's a great one that came in. So it was actually from a coach. So in addition to officials rating their crew, coaches have the ability. It's less done by coaches for a whole other reason. They think they're going to get dinged too. But anyway, it is available. So this was a number of years ago, and I got a note from the coach through this rating system, and he said, Brian, every single foul was non-releasable. It was full time. Every single foul, holding, crease violation. Like, okay, pick up the phone, we're talking to the official, right? So, I mean, it really helped in that case where I picked up the phone and said, okay, we need to talk. You know, that's not the rules. I'm not sure where you're seeing that, but so good example of how that really, really helped.
Got to hit this
one. If you want to search for other officials, where they're working, that's available. This lacrosse tournament sign up, all the summer tournaments, including, and Sally's there. So this is how you sign up for tournaments. Tournaments are a great way to go. Great experience of tournaments. Okay, ejections. So if you're on a game and you or anyone on your crew had an ejection on the game, you need to submit an ejection report. All officials on the crew, not just the official reporting. I want to hear from every single person and a unique perspective, right? Individually, what did you see? If you honestly saw nothing, then say, I saw nothing. Okay, that's an okay answer. I was trail and didn't see anything. That's an okay answer. But we're looking for 3 different perspectives. It needs to be done really the night of. How this impacts is the student player is not allowed to play the next game. Well, sometimes it can be the next day. Not often, but they're playing a Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend. That Friday night ejection could have impact on that Saturday game. I need to hear from all the officials, okay?
So non-negotiable, and this is Brian's coming from the league perspective. Veterans, what is non-negotiable if you have an ejection on the game and you're the R? You are calling me whether I'm on a game or not and leaving a message or a text. But you have to make the phone call to me that night. I cannot find out about this from Brian at 6:40 in the morning. I've got to talk to you that night. And be aware, if you have an ejection and I'm on a game and I'm getting off later than you're getting a phone call from me to explain it. They don't happen that often, guys. I think we had 9 ejections all last season, maybe. So this isn't something that's happening it's happening once a week, maybe. If you're the R, you have to call me and let me know because there's just reasons behind it as we then start conversation with the league. Because I want to be able to hear your side of this before I ever get into a conversation with the league about it. Please and thank you.
More details are better. They're just better, especially fresh in your head, right after the game. More details are better. Okay, submit ejections.
1 minute, Brian.
Yep.
I did. I hit it.
Oh, 1 minute? To,
Do you need more?
no, I thought you wanted me to wait 1 minute. Go back to the
Nope.
I thought you had more to say and you needed another minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Okay, lightning safety, don't need to hear about it. So if there's any field information, if you go to a field and it's like, you totally got crossed up, you have the ability as an official to update a field, so it's better for your partners the next game, okay? Next. And so this was part of what we talked about with Will. OHSLA is trying to be more transparent to teams, to officials. Our board minutes are all posted up on the website. I think there's 12 months there if you click on it, so you can view that at least 12 months. So, and that'll just continue to grow. So if you're interested, they're not super fascinating, but they're there for transparency purposes. Okay, next one, and the most important one, money, payment. So this is where you guys get paid. So currently, it's once at the end of the year. It doesn't have to be that way. That's how it's set up currently. It works at the end of the year when your season's over and you submit. And so, but if you have a hardship, if you're like, hey man, I'm having trouble getting dog food, talk to me. Talk to me. I will open it up somewhere middle of the season. Just be aware the treasurer charges not that it's that much, but a $10 processing check writing fee. So if you get paid twice, it's $20 versus 10 getting paid at the end. Other than that, I'm happy to work with you. So I think there was one last season, but I'm willing to work with it. And new officials, please put in your W-9s because it's an issue every single year. I can't recall a year where we didn't have, where the treasurer's like, I got 2 checks, I'm not mailing them, here's their names, I don't have a W-9. Now I'm doing legwork to try and make that happen, so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Brian runs our whole website, guys. Derek? Brian, you got a question?
Last year, we were having to turn in game reports and keep track.
Oh, shit, where's that?
Non-releasable penalties, are we still doing that?
Okay, scroll up. Thank you for mentioning that. It is actually on my sheet, but
Okay.
So if you are the R and you worked a game, so it's now the next day or that night, you will have a link right here for submit a game report. So it's only crew chiefs, only the R on the crew, it's only one person out of each game, each varsity game, I should say, submits a game report. So there's a number of questions, and one of the things that was added on last year was the league wants to know who jersey number of unsportsmanlike conducts. So this goes into the equation for awards at the end of the year. So here's this great player, could be an All-American, and he's had 3 unsportsmanlike. It's probably going to have an effect on his end of the season award. So Will asked last year, we put it in. So for unsportsmanlike, we want jersey numbers. If there's 3, there's a place to keep adding them. You can do jersey numbers. And I think on the technical...
Also has non-releasables too.
I think it just asks, did you have
Multiple minute penalties.
minute foul? And that's just a notes thing. You don't have to list the penalties there. It's a note section. Yes, I did.
No jersey numbers on
No
it.
jersey.
Yeah.
Well, like stick checks count though.
Yeah, an illegal stick is 2 minutes full
Are
time.
you really keeping track of stick checks?
We're not. So that has not changed. The question you're referring to is not checked. It's yes or
The
no.
question requires us to keep track of stick checks. My question is, why are you keeping track of stick
We're not. I'm not asking to keep track.
checks? Your question is.
Oh, we're not. So the only jersey numbers we want are unsportsmanlike conducts. That's the only one.
Your question's not asking that. Your question is asking.
I don't think so, but I will check.
Okay.
When's the last time you were on it? 9 months ago, probably.
Check your question.
Yeah, all right, I will. The only time, there is a question about that, but it's a yes, no, and comments are not required.
What are we gonna get it, like, who's got the bigger set of nuts here? What's going on?
We're not asking for jersey numbers on sticks or whatever you say. And then we are asking.
Sometimes being right doesn't mean being right.
So the other one that'll
We're
show
gonna
up here,
clarify.
if you've been assigned as a mentor, that will be a second green link. If you have, and the game is now passed, it's over, there will be a link up here right next to the game report link, if you have those. So there's potentially 2 links at the top for one for game reports and one for mentorship reports.
Look, just like that, just like that.
Still there.
Yeah.
Your slide from last year. Yeah,
Correct.
that's a good-looking guy there.
And actually, are you calling up the PowerPoint?
Yeah, I've got it all for you, buddy.
Last year.
I wanna know what it,
You said you didn't want to use this.
Well, I didn't until Terry spoke up. Go back one. That's part of it.
Non-releasable penalties.
There is one, but it's like a yes/no one.
There are the questions.
There is a question. I agree with that part. But we're not looking for jersey numbers. The only thing we're looking for jersey numbers is concussion. No, not concussions. Crap. Unsportsmanlike. Thank you. That's the only one, and it's only Will wanted it, and Jeff Melville wanted it because it affects end of the season awards. Those are slides from last year.
hey, Brian, that's all you're asking is just a jersey number, you don't need to subtract out the name.
No.
Correct, correct. And the other thing is, I don't know how many ejections come in and you guys don't put the jersey number or the name. It's like, come on, I need it. I need it. If there's an ejection, you gotta go over the table, right on the back of your scorecard, the jersey number, and look at the rule book. There'll be a name associated to that player. We're sort of matching those two up.
And your R will give that to you if you're on the crew.
Yes.
Take a picture of the book.
There you go. Great habit.
All right. Hey, guys, we are right at noon. I need you to hang. We got 3 minutes here, and we're going to get everybody out. Don, you want to just give a little perspective as an assigner, things you're looking for, needs that you have, how you're doing your book of business.
Okay, first thing is blocks. You know, I understand that people miss them. But the sooner you can get to me, you know, don't call 2 days before the game and say, oh, I forgot to set a block. Okay? I expect you to be a week before that and say, you know, 'cause I have to schedule out 2 weeks in advance. You know, next 2 weeks where you're gonna be. So get in touch with me early, not later. The other thing that happens too, and one of the things that Brian has designed into the system is the fact that it will tell us when our heavy game days are. Okay, it's a green, yellow, red system that he's come up with. I think probably last year we had 3 red days where almost everybody in the state needs to work those nights. So if you're off that night and you've set a block, chances are I might call and still ask to make sure that that block is good. Don't think it's something personal. Just remember that there are going to be nights where last year I think we only had maybe 3 or 4 games where we only had 2 varsity officials on it. Okay? And chances are it was probably one of those heavy nights where I just had to figure out who's going to go short tonight. Okay? So just remember that. And I usually publish those because the schedule's all set. Brian's going to know on February 6th or what,
20th.
February 20th what nights those are. And I'll let everybody know, or I'll have Tom put them in the newsletter. Okay? And just remember, if you can not be blocked that night, that would be very helpful.
Hey, generally speaking, guys, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays are the big.
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Fridays are definitely the ones that show up red.
There's a few Thursdays that are a little.
But we've had a lot that, with the new system now, we have a lot more Saturday games.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Coaches
So, I mean, they
adjust.
really have figured out how to kind of, it used to be 8 nights that I had everybody in the state. Now it's 3 nights.
It hasn't been said, but OHSLA, Brian, correct me if I'm saying this incorrectly, they cut the season, the number of weeks of the season down, because they want to get the state championship done before Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
So, and graduations.
It's
and all
the
that.
weekend right after Memorial Day weekend.
Weekend right after.
Oh, excuse me, weekend right after. They didn't want a bunch of interference with graduations predominantly.
Yeah.
So they're trying to pack more games into actually a shorter calendar.
Right, it went down 1 week, correct, and that was, actually came from the coaches' reps. That did not come from the league, they asked, can we, and we looked into it and said, yes. They still are allowed the same number of games, maximum number of games, they just would have to do it in one list.
If you find yourself being shipped out of the area, i.e. Hofford assigns you down in Salem, know that the Salem guys are down in Eugene. So it's a huge compliment. We don't do it a ton. So 3 or 4 times a season, if you find yourself in Salem, great for you. The other part is we don't just spin a wheel and choose R's, U's, and field judges. At the start of the year, we put a real strong R's on games to kind of set the tone for the coaches and players. As we start to move into the middle of the season, you're going to see us rotating in kind of people that we want to see how they do in the R role. If you're not that R and you're a seasoned veteran, let the R be the R. You're there to help them be successful. And if you want to keep working your way up, talk to Don and Tom Johnson and I and say, hey, I'd like a shot at doing, taking on this role and whatnot. But we try and they're very intentional on how we do those assignments. Okay, finish line is upon us. If you want to take, by the way, all this is going to be on our website, including the links for this. If you want to watch it over again, maybe watch the coaches part or our young studs part. You can take a picture of this. This is all the tournaments that have been for the year, kind of in the region. There are a few more, but this is kind of the big tournaments for the year. So if you like to kind of schedule yourself out, this is a great cheat sheet. Again, this will all be on the website. Let's talk about jackets or required equipment now. Dawn is going to be up here. If you don't have a jacket yet or you need a replacement, come visit Dawn. They're $50 the first time, $55 for a replacement. Send the money to Lock Chandler. You can't take a jacket till you pay for it. Okay?
I also have cards and coins and patches too, but I guess we're not going to need patches anymore.
We are going to this year. Yep, for this year we will.
Well, I might as well give them away then.
Okay, let's remember our requirements for being on the field. By the way, big check mark to everybody today. Your 4 hours of annual training is done. You must attend 2 out of 3 veterans trainings to get credit. If you're going to miss, you need to get that pre-approved. Okay? So it's really important that we kind of act like, even though you're independent contractors, do your bosses a solid and say, hey, I'm not available to be here on X night. And then you want to make sure you're at one of at least 2 others. And the great thing that we do is we have veterans trainings in Portland, Eugene, and Salem, all on different nights. So if you miss Portland due to a family commitment, you can go to Salem. If you miss Salem, you can go to Portland, Eugene, vice versa. The only challenging region, of course, is the high desert because they do all their training in 2 days. And they are long. Everybody needs to have their documents signed.
And if you've still got yours, please bring them up and set them on this corner table.
Rookies, know that you, in addition to this veterans training, this annual meeting, you're going to have your rookie training, and thank you. Yeah.
There was a document on there that we didn't get the concussions.
That, to my understanding, we're doing that, Mark, correct, in veterans training?
Correct.
Okay. And rookies will do that in rookie training, Ned. Good question. Everything is on our website. Brian's done a great job to get everything updated. Tom Carney's fed it. We're doing a really nice thing. If you make the annual meeting, big check mark here. And all 3 veterans trainings, free tickets to go into the playoffs. So that's $10 per event. And then the state final game, we give you a nice credit there. Mark is our rules interpreter. If you have a question, start by getting in the book, okay? And then come to Mark. We have the season starting. Your U.S. lacrosse membership needs to be renewed by February 8th. We will do a call down, and gosh, we don't like having to do that. Just get your U.S. lacrosse membership in place. Rookies, I hope your trainers are walking you through that. Test needs to be completed by February 15th. And for the first year ever, you can't not get a perfect score. If you miss the question, ding dong, they make you take the question again. Hit reset and take another guess. It's meant to be intuitive and a learning experience, but everybody is going to get 100. So the years of Brian and Neil and I competing for highest test score are over.
Highest or lowest?
Highest, and then busting you know what for the dude that didn't. Here's everything that you need, that we know we need to complete. With that, guys, let's have a great season, guys and gals. This is a very special culture. We need to protect this culture. We need to protect each other and make sure people are having a great time. It is proven in anything outside of work. If you are not enjoying it, you will not do it long. Officiating is a mindset. It's a personality type. It's okay to figure out that's not your thing, but figure it out quick. It's a good time. We know we have a little thicker skin, but it is about each other. Let's remember, every time we go onto the field, who is the only 3 cheering for each other? We're cheering for each other. So let's take care of each other and the health of this organization. Make great choices. Be emotionally secure. And let's give a great product out there. Thank you all for your time today. Michael Busan, thank you so much for what you've done today.